Chapter 1318. The Dark Clan 4. Damn it. Who allowed you to rely on him? Get away from him. At this time, the young lady of the Yin family who had just lifted the curtain of the beast carriage to look outside saw this scene and couldn't help but roar with jealousy. She had just woken up when her father told her that he had brought back the maidservant who had made her angry, along with the stinky fox who had almost killed her and the devilish man who made her drool. When she heard that, she was extremely excited. She couldn't care less about her slightly painful head and wanted to see it with her own eyes. Who knew that she would see this scene? Suddenly, the anger in her heart rose. Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at the young lady of the Yin family, who was glaring at her through the curtain. Then, she turned her head back to the evildoer. The two of them continued to be sweet to each other, as if there was no one else around. They did not take the woman's words seriously at all. Damn it, I'm talking to you. You dare to pretend you can't hear me? The young lady of the Yin family roared in anger. Seeing this, the Yin clan's first master hurriedly consoled. My good daughter, she's just a maidservant. Why are you angry with her? If you don't like her, just kill her. Father, then he'll kill her now. I don't want to see her again. The young lady of the Yin family said in an overbearing manner. Ling, there's so many people coming and going here. If we were to kill someone here and someone were to meddle in our business, wouldn't that spoil our plans? Moreover, her beast pet almost killed you. Are you willing to let her die so easily? The Yin clan's first master reminded. Actually, he was a little reluctant to let such a beauty give up her life in vain. Who asked him to always have tender feelings for women? Father is right. Well, torture her to death when we get back to the Yin family. I won't let her have an easy time, and that stinky fox too. Yin Ling, said with a vicious expression. Shuang, who was walking beside Lung Ruoxue, saw the fierce look in Miss Yan's eyes and said with a face full of fear, Shue, that woman is trying to get her hands on us. I'm so scared. After he finished speaking, he even intentionally leaned towards Lung Ruoxue's side. However, he was still kicked out by the demon. Why don't you know how to love little animals at all? Shuang crawled back again with tears in his eyes, accusing the evildoer of his atrocious acts in an extremely aggrieved manner. Are you a small animal? The demon glanced at Shui Ying's huge body and said speechlessly. He really couldn't see how this fox was small. When most beasts appeared in their beast form, they would basically mimic it. Only this fellow didn't like it. It always appeared in this form that was almost the same height as its original body. It was clearly doing this on purpose, deliberately trying to give others pressure. Of course I am. Have you ever seen such a cute fox like me? Shui Ying said arrogantly, and kept throwing charming eyes at the demon, which made the demon feel disgusted. Shui Ying, are your eyes cramping? Lung Ruoxue said, amused. Of course not. I'm just throwing seductive eyes at your man. It's a pity that your man doesn't know how to flirt. Shuang grumbled helplessly. He's not interested in male beasts, but if you're in heat, I don't mind you seducing that lady. Lung Ruoxue suggested with an evil smile. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. I'm very sorry. I'm not interested in her. Shuang said with a look of disdain. But she wants to kill us. If you don't make the first move, we'll be the ones to die. Lung Ruoxue reminded. It's my honor to be able to go to the netherworld with you. Shuang said with a smirk, unconcerned. You wish. If you want to go, you should go to the netherworld yourself. Shue can only be with me. The evildoer roared as he suppressed his anger. Sure, lower your voice. Others will hear you. When Snow Shadow heard the demon's loud voice, he hurriedly dissuaded him. It's too late. Lung Ruoxue looked at the young lady of the Yin family, who had already alighted from the beast carriage, and said with an innocent expression, Aya, a fiend has come. What should we do? Shuang shouted in an exaggerated manner. Stinky Fox, who are you calling a fiend? Yinlinger walked in front of them and asked loudly. Other than you, who else could it be? Shuang rolled his eyes and said speechlessly, This woman's comprehension is terrible. Even a fool could tell that it was her, but she had to confirm it. AI, Stinky Fox, how dare you? I won't let you off. Wen Yinling, or heard Shui Ying's words, she roared in anger. Miss Hong, you've said this many times, right? If you want to kill me, then come. Why are you talking so much nonsense? Shui Ying said impatiently. Sigh. If it wasn't for the fact that Shui wanted to enter their nest, it wouldn't want to waste its breath on these stupid humans. Who is Miss Hong? Yin Ling was attracted by the words Miss Hong and couldn't help but ask foolishly. You, Snow Shadow said very clearly. Damn it, my surname is not Hong. My surname is Yin. Yin Ling. Yin Ling was very angry and shouted, Fuck. Why did she have to be associated with that woman from the Hong family? One had to know that the one she hated the most was that woman from the Hong family. Who said your surname is Hong? I'm talking about the lady in red. Aren't you wearing red? Snow Shadow said in realization. Damn it, you're playing with me? Yin Ling Air's anger rose again after hearing Shui Ying's words. I'm so wrong. Shui Ying's eyes were filled with tears, and her face was full of grievance. Just you wait. He'll deal with you when I get home. And you. Stay away from him. You're not allowed to come within 3 meters of him. Yin Ling looked at Lung Ruoxue and warned her. As for the him she was obviously referring to the demon. He's my man. Lung Ruoxue reminded her speechlessly. She had to admit that she had seen many brainless women, but Yin Ling was one of the most outstanding ones. Up until now, no woman had ever ordered her to stay 3 meters away from her man in such a domineering manner. Today, she could be considered to have broadened her horizons. So what? You won't be very soon. Yin Ling said confidently. Then she worriedly called for the guards and ordered them to guard them closely, not allowing the two of them to get close. The guard agreed. When he saw his miss returning to the beast-drawn carriage, he whispered to Lung Ruoxue, I'm just following orders, so don't blame me. The guards were not stupid. Many of them could tell that the 2 humans and 1 beast that the eldest master had brought back were tough people. Hence, they did not make things difficult for Lung Ruoxue in private. On the contrary, they would take care of her when they could in order to obtain good karma. After all, they were only guards. Sir System dared to offend them, but they did not. Chapter 1319, The Dark Land 5, I Understand. Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly. She wouldn't make things difficult for a few errand boys, so she naturally wouldn't listen to Miss Yan's words. After she finished speaking, she took the evildoer's arm, and the guard beside her also opened one eye and closed the other, as if he did not see anything. The beast carriage moved slowly. Seeing that the sky was getting dark and they were in the wilderness, they could only set up a tent and spend the night outside. The guards of the Yin residence were busy, while Lung Ruoxue and the demon found a place to sit down. Shui Ying lay beside them, her eyes fixed on every movement in the beast carriage. The young lady from the Yin residence had said that she would be staying in the carriage tonight. It didn't know how the father and daughter would distribute the beast carriage, so it was really curious. Not long after, Shui Ying saw the Yin clan's first master walking down from the beast carriage, clearly intending to leave the beast carriage to his precious daughter. The guards of the Yin clan prepared the food and specially sent some over to Lung Ruoxue and the rest. However, they were all rejected by Lung Ruoxue. Thank you. We have food. As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, she took out a steaming hot roast chicken from her bracelet and passed it to Shui Ying. Then, she took out another one to share with the demon. She had asked Qingju to roast these 2 chickens in the medium. Naturally, she had used the chickens that were raised in her bracelet and were full of spiritual energy. Therefore, the meat was exceptionally delicious. Even she, who did not particularly like to eat chicken, could eat a lot of it. When the guard smelled the chicken in Lung Ruoxue's hands, he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. They were both chickens, but why did they taste so different? Just look at how fragrant it was. However, he could only drool. At this time, Yin Ling Air's voice rang out from the beast carriage again. What are you roasting? Let me have a taste. When the guard heard Yin Ling Air's words, he directly gave the roast chicken in his hand to Yin Ling. Shui do you think that annoying woman will go crazy if she finds out that the fragrance she smelled just now was from our food? Shui Ying, who was eating very elegantly, asked curiously. She want to know. Shall only think arrogantly, why didn't the meat in her mouth smell as good as it did? Lung Ruoxue said, that makes sense, but where are we sleeping tonight? You're not really planning to let us sleep in a while, are you? Shuang looked at Lung Ruoxue and asked with a puzzled expression. They did not have a tent and could not take out the house. Well, what should they do? I thought you would be used to sleeping in the wild. After hearing Shui Ying's words, Lung Ruoxue replied as a matter of course. Didn't Beastie always go with the flow and sleep wherever they encountered? That was in the past. Now I'm used to sleeping on a bed. If you make me sleep in the wilderness, I won't be able to adapt. Shuang said with an innocent look on his face. Whoa, it was no longer a wild fox. Now it was raised at home, so it had to sleep in a bed. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Come, let's set up a tent later and sleep inside. Lung Ruoxue chuckled. Actually, she was just teasing Shuang earlier. Lung Ruoxue, the two humans and the beast quickly finished their meal and set up the tent. After greeting the guards who were watching over them, the two humans and the beast entered the tent together. Ugh! The guards who saw their actions were so curious that they felt as if a cat was scratching their hearts. Two people and one beast had only set up one tent, and all of them had entered. Wasn't it crowded? Never in his dreams would he have thought that the tent was just Lung Ruoxue's smokescreen. They had long since entered the bangle. Hence, he had done his job and stood guard outside the tent for the entire night, preventing them from sneaking away. The next day, Lung Ruoxue, the two of them, and the beast walked out of the tent in high spirits. When they saw the guards outside the tent, Lung Ruoxue even showed them some sympathy and concern. What's wrong? Didn't you sleep well last night? Yup, the guard said with a smile, but he couldn't help but complain in his heart. It would be a wonder if you slept well. I have to guard you. How could I dare to sleep? If he let you run away, young miss would skin him alive. It's really hard to be a guard. He'll talk to your miss and ask her to increase your salary. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Dante, please Dante. When the guard heard Lung Ruoxue's words, he was so frightened that he hurriedly spoke. If this woman were to make such a request to the young lady would definitely think that he was in cahoots with this woman. At that time, he would not have it easy. Hee, don't be afraid. I was just saying, your miss won't listen to me. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. MMH, the young lady will not listen to anyone. The guard hurriedly nodded. Can we be on our way now? By the way, where's the Yin clan? How long do we have to walk if we keep going this way? Lung Ruoxue asked casually. We could go now. It'll probably take us at least half a month to reach the Yin residence. The guard said softly. However, he did not answer Lung Ruoxue's question about where the Yin clan was. Oh, Lung Ruoxue nodded and thought to herself, looks like the Yin family is quite far from Yinbei City. However, when she arrived at the Yin clan's base camp, she realized that it was not that the Yin clan was far from Yinbei City, but that their speed was simply too slow. After having a simple breakfast, the Yin clan's first master and his party continued on their way. At this moment, Ziyu and the others were also on their way to the Yin clan. After flying for nearly 2 days, the four of them finally found the Yin residence. The Yin clan was located in a small mountain to the north of Yinbei City. On the mountainside of the small mountain, there were two large characters, Yin City. Seeing these two words, Z's forehead was filled with black lines. She thought to herself, as expected of the Dark Clan, he actually knew how to occupy a mountain as a city. It seems that the Yin clan is quite similar to our master in some ways. They both like to live in the mountains. Bai Xian sighed as he looked at the small mountain in front of him. Say, my ass, how can the Yin family be compared to our young miss? Yu Qing said with some anger. Right now, as long as she thought of the Yin family, she would have the urge to fight. Oomph. He dared to touch her young miss. He really didn't want to live. I was wrong. Bai Xian saw that the tigress had gone mad and quickly admitted his mistake. Boo-hoo. He didn't dare to provoke an adult, soul-gnawing beast. Wasn't that courting death? Oomph. I don't plan on letting this Yin family off. You guys decide for yourselves. The moon eye roared furiously. Yuqing, calm down. We have to see the young lady first before we can make any plans. Don't be impulsive. Ziyu advised helplessly. Okay, let's go then, Yuqing said while holding back her anger. The four of them came to the mountain gate and handed over the invitation that Yin Kuan had given them to the city guard. They were then invited into Yin City to wait for the city lord to meet them. In the Yin residence's living room, Ziyu and Bai Xian sat quietly at the side, drinking tea. As for Yuqing, she was pacing back and forth in frustration. As soul-gnawing beasts, their tempers were naturally explosive. After following the young miss for a few years, her temper had been restrained a lot. However, for some unknown reason, after knowing about the young miss matter this time, her temper had actually gone out of control. Other than wanting to watch the show, she was also anxious to see her young miss, because she could only be by the young miss side. Only then would she be able to calm down. Miss seemed to have the ability to calm people down, and that feeling made her very comfortable. After waiting for a while, the Yin family steward brought in a middle-aged man who looked to be in his early 40s. When Ziyu and the others saw the middle-aged man, they all knew that he was not the master of the Yin family. Therefore, no one had any intention of getting up, and they just sat in their chairs. Chapter 13:20. The Yin Family's Enemy. 1. Everyone, this is the second master of our family, the butler introduced with a smile. However, Ziyu and the others didn't say anything. Seeing this, Yuqing sneered, Housekeeper, we want to see your family head, not some second master. Did you misunderstand what we meant? I'm sorry, everyone. The family head has something to attend to, so he sent the second master to receive you. I hope you can forgive him. The butler said with a smile. We have important matters to discuss with your clan head. Are you sure he can't see us now? Or perhaps this second master can make the decision for your Yin clan? Yuqing sneered. Oof. Did the Yin family take them for fools? What do you mean by something happened to the master? She didn't believe it. He was clearly trying to avoid them. Miss, the master is indeed busy. Why would I lie to you? The butler wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said helplessly, Woo, why is this woman so difficult to deal with? Only you know whether I'm lying or not. Ziyu, since he's so insincere, let's leave. Yuqing turned her head and said to Ziyu, Yes. Ziyu nodded. The three of them stood up and prepared to walk out of the hall. However, he had only taken 2 steps when he was stopped by the middle-aged man. I'm sorry, everyone. My father really has something to do and can't leave. Please don't take offense. The middle-aged man said courteously, I wonder when Yin family head will be able to see us. Ziyu asked indifferently, I'll be a few days. Why don't you all stay at my Yin residence for the time being? When my father is done with his work, he'll personally invite you all. The middle-aged man said, That's good too. Ziyu nodded her head in understanding. After that, the middle-aged man instructed the butler to arrange guest rooms for Ziyu and the others. He had intended to arrange for someone to serve them, but they refused. In the guest room, Yuqing kept walking back and forth. Seeing her appearance, Ziyu couldn't help but laugh. Yuqing, calm down. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm. How can I be calm? We still haven't found a young lattice whereabouts, and that Yin family head is not willing to see us. Yuqing couldn't help but complain. Nothing will happen to the young lady. As for that Yin family head, he most likely ran into some trouble. Otherwise, with the friendship between Yinbei City and him, he would not refuse to see us. Ziyu calmly analyzed. So, what if we have a friendship? Now that the master of the Yin clan has taken away our young lady, and we don't even know if he's dead or alive, can the Yin clan and Yin Northern City still continue their friendship? Yuqing said unhappily. She didn't care what happened to that Yin family head. In short, it was enough for her to see the young lady. If the young miss lost a single strand of hair, she would definitely destroy the Yin clan. She didn't care what kind of dark clan the Yin clan was. I think Yuqing's words are very reasonable. That old master from the Yin clan took our young miss away, so young miss will definitely not let him off. Our enmity with the Yin clan is also set in stone. Since that's the case, we don't have to be too polite to the Yin clan. It's better for us to make the first move. Bai Xian said, wishing for the world to be in chaos. Why are you all so violent? I think we should still meet the Yin family head. There might be a good show to watch. Ziyu said with a mysterious look. What's the meaning of this? Bai Xian's curiosity was aroused. Don't you smell the faint scent of blood in the Yin residence? If I'm not wrong, the reason why Master Yin refuses to see us is probably because he's injured or something has happened to the Yin family, so that Master Yin can't attend to many things. Don't forget that Yin Kuan once said that he has a good relationship with Master Yin. Since they have a good relationship, and we have Yin Kun's notice, even if he doesn't treat us as distinguished guests, he should at least meet us in person. However, he only sent his own son. Doesn't this show that there's a problem? Ziyu said with a faint smile. Now that you mentioned it, it does seem a little suspicious. Bai Xian lowered his head and pondered for a while. What do we do now? Yu Qing said impatiently. Well, wait, Ziyu said. When he said that he wanted to leave earlier, it was just a pretense. In fact, he also wanted to see the Yin clan's reaction. Since they were now being held back, there was naturally no need to leave so easily. But we still haven't found the young miss. Yu Qing said with a frown. We'll find out when we get the chance. Ziyu reminded. After the housekeeper brought them to the guest room, he left in a hurry. No one knew if he was really in such a hurry or if he was afraid that they would eat people. AI, they'll go out and ask around. Yu Qing said, unable to sit still. After saying this, he stood up and left the guest room. Xiang'er, you should also go and take a look. Ziyu looked at Yu Qing's back and said with some worry. All right, he said. Xiang'er stood up and left after Yu Qing. Ziyu, what should we do? Bai Xian couldn't help but ask. They couldn't just wait here. Just wait patiently. Ziyu said with a smirk, as if she knew what was on Bai Xian's mind. Then let's wait. Bai Xian was helpless. At the same time, in the main courtyard of the Yin residence, the second master of the Yin clan was reporting the situation of the guests to his lord father. Father, is that Yin Kuan really that important? Why do we have to accommodate them? The second master of the Yin clan asked in confusion. Based on his temper, if they wanted to leave, they could just leave. However, his father had specifically ordered him to treat them well. This made him very puzzled. Yin Kuan and my father have been friends for many years. Their relationship has always been good. In recent years, Yin Kuan seemed to have met with some kind of lucky encounter. His momentum has been out of control. The Ning clan, Qi clan, and some other top clans have repeatedly expressed their goodwill to him. Therefore, our Yin clan naturally cannot fall behind. You know the current situation of our Yin clan. We really need allies. Otherwise, the Hong clan alone can force our Yin clan into a desperate situation. Yin family head coughed a few times before he continued. Father, I understand. The Yin clan's second master nodded. Since you understand, you must take good care of them. Remember not to neglect them. Yin family head warned. Yes, but they want to see father. I'm afraid I don't have that kind of weight. The Yin clan's second master said worriedly. Chapter 1321. The Yin family's enemy, 2. Calm them down first. When father's injuries are better, he'll naturally go see them. Yin family head sighed. Out of all his sons, his second son was the stabler one. However, his temper was too good. He could not control the old guys in the family at all. That was why he was worried. All right, father. Didn't you send Big Brother to Yin Bay City? Then why did City Lord Yin send him here? The Yin clan's second master voiced out his doubts. He had thought about this question for a while, but he had not been able to come up with a solution. They didn't reveal anything at all. Yin family head asked with a frown. No, they almost left when they saw that you didn't go to see them. Fortunately, I stopped them. After that, I was worried about father's injury, so I asked the butler to take them to the guest room. Second Master Yin explained. Find a chance to sound them out and see what they're here for. Yin family head said after some thought. All right, father, we'll be going out first. The second master of the Yin clan replied, and then turned to leave the main courtyard. In the next few days, the Yin clan's second master kept looking for opportunities to inquire about the purpose of Ziyu and the others' visit. However, Ziyu always changed the topic. Not only did the Yin clan's second master not manage to obtain any useful information from Ziyu and the others, but he had also been tricked into saying a lot of things. This made him feel deeply depressed and helpless. Ziyu had learned from the second master of the Yin clan that his big brother had not returned to the Yin residence yet, so she was at ease and stayed in the Yin residence. She did not ask to see the Yin clan master again. Half a month later, Lung Ruoxue and the rest followed the Yin clan's eldest master on a long journey and finally arrived at the city closest to Yin City. Of course, the reason why she knew that they were about to reach the Yin residence was because she had heard it from a guard. Thinking back on her journey to the Yin residence, Lung Ruoxue was speechless. She realized that the Yin residence was actually not that far from Yinbei City. If they were to take a flying beast, they would be able to reach in 2 days at most. Even if they were to use a beast carriage, they should have reached in at least 8 to 10 days. However, they had walked for more than half a month. The reason for such a long journey was definitely due to the efforts of the Yin father and daughter. The city they were in was called Hong City, and it was owned by the Hong family. After the Yin father and daughter arrived in Huqing, the first thing they did was to look for a hotel. After dinner, the father and daughter went to bed early. After all, they had been on the road for more than half a month and had not rested well. They had always been pampered and spoiled, and they were so tired that they were about to vomit blood. Now that they were almost home, they naturally had to have a good night's rest. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Com Lung Ruoxue, the evildoer, and Shuang were locked up in 2 separate guest rooms under Yin Lang'er's orders. However, this did not affect the evildoer's free access to the rooms. Lung Ruoxue and Shuang smiled at each other as they looked at the demon who walked in openly. Shuang couldn't help but tease him. You seem to have entered the wrong room, right? This is my room and Shuang's room. You are the one who entered the wrong room. Go back to your nest. The demon said in an unpleasant tone. Yes, he was very angry. That damned woman actually dared to lock Shuang up with another man. This was preposterous. Oh, it should be a male beast. But no matter if it was a man or a male beast, they were all male. He would never allow that to happen. Freak! Lung Ruoxue called out softly. Then, with a thought, she brought the demon and Shuang into the bracelet to rest. However, they were woken up by Qingju in the middle of the night. Qingju, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxue opened her eyes and asked in confusion. Sister, something has happened outside. You 3 prisoners should be out by now. Qingju said excitedly. What happened? Lung Ruoxue was very curious. Could it be that Yin Ling had come to check on their room? That's impossible, right? Yin Ling slept like a dead pig every night. So how could she care about her? She couldn't help but make wild guesses. Sister, you'll know when you get out. It's very fun. Hee. Qingju smirked and disappeared. Lung Ruoxue felt helpless when she saw how mysterious Green Vessel was acting. However, she still obediently left the bracelet with the evildoer and Shuang. As soon as she left the room, the door was kicked open. Then, a group of men in gray ran in. They were all holding weapons and had fierce looks on their faces. After seeing these people, Lung Ruoxue understood that these people were not from the Yin clan. Could it be that they had encountered the Yin clan's enemy? AI. He really didn't know if they were lucky or unlucky. However, the unlucky ones would definitely not be the 3 of them. Take the 3 of them as well. The leader of the gray-robed men instructed his subordinates. Yes, the subordinate replied hurriedly. After he finished speaking, he went forward to capture Lung Ruoxue and the rest. We'll go on our own. I don't need you to catch me. Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. Then, she pulled the evildoer along and led Shuang out of the room. The gray-robed men had never seen such a cooperative prisoner before. They were stunned for a moment before they regained their senses and followed behind Lung Ruoxue and her beast. After leaving the inn, Lung Ruoxue saw the Yin family's father and daughter being tied up. The guards of the Yin family were treated slightly better than the father and daughter. At least they weren't tied up. Master Yin, Miss Yin, what's wrong with you? Lung Ruoshua chuckled and asked, pretending not to know anything. Oomph. Don't play dumb. Did you find these people? Our Yin clan will not let you off. When Yin Ling saw Lung Ruoshua, she roared in anger. One must know that she had never thought that she would be in such a sorry state one day. And now, the woman she wanted to get rid of had seen her in such a state. This was really intolerable. Miss Yin, are you out of your mind? Don't you see that these people have also caught us? If you really want to find out who's responsible, shouldn't it be us who's been implicated by you? Lung Ruoshua laughed coldly. That's right. You evil people not only want to kill us, but now you've been caught by your enemies and you're even dragging us down. Shuang said with a look of dissatisfaction. Stinky fox, what nonsense are you talking about? How could we have any enemies? Yin Ling roared in anger. Chapter 1322. The Yin Family's Enemy 3. If he's not your enemy, is he ours? Shuang rolled his eyes and said with a look of disdain, All of you shut up. Don't quarrel. The leader of the gray-robed men said with a headache. It seemed that the two people and one beast they had caught in the end were not in cahoots with the Yin clan. What should he do? The clan head had only ordered them to capture the Yin clan. So should they release them? He was conflicted. I didn't argue with her. If he can use a rag to block this woman's mouth, he'll be very grateful. Snow Shadow reminded. That makes sense. The leader of the men in gray nodded in agreement, then gave a look to his subordinate. However, the subordinate said with some difficulty, Captain, I don't have any rags with me. You guys don't have any either? The leader of the men in gray asked the others, but they all shook their heads. Then what do we do? The leader of the gray-clothed men was in a difficult position. Obviously, he also thought that Yin Ling was a little noisy and wanted to block her mouth. What's so difficult about that? Can't you just take off one of your stinky socks and use it to stuff her mouth? Shui Ying suggested with a smirk. When the leader of the men in gray heard Shui Ying's words, he didn't have time to say anything before the angry Yin Ling spoke first. Stinky fox. Stupid fox. I won't let you off. What are you arguing about? Shut up. The leader of the gray-robed men said impatiently. Although this woman and his second young miss didn't like each other, their temper was the same. They were both so annoying. Then, he said to the subordinate from before, Take off your socks and stuff her mouth. Captain, my socks don't stink. The man said, feeling wronged. The leader of the men in gray was speechless after hearing his subordinate's words. Shuang, on the other hand, laughed evilly and said, Then you can take off whatever stinky clothes you want. As long as she can't speak, it's fine. Then you guys wait. After the subordinate finished speaking, he immediately ran off. Not long after, he returned with a piece of cloth in his hand. The subordinate took the piece of black cloth that was emitting a strange smell and stuffed it into Yin Ling mouth. Yin Ling struggled, trying to get rid of the nauseating cloth. Unfortunately, her whole body was tied up, and she was powerless. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm seeing this familiar scene, Lung Ruoshua deeply felt that she had made the right decision in abducting Shuang. This fellow was born to be hers. Why did he have such similar thoughts as them? Hee. Captain, mission accomplished. The subordinate said excitedly. Well done, but I'm curious where you found cloth. The leader of the men in gray asked nosily. I took it from a beggar. The subordinate reported. Oh. The leader of the men in gray nodded in appreciation, then ordered everyone to return home. Under the supervision of a few men in gray, Lung Ruoshua and her beast followed behind the large group of people and arrived in front of a large manor. When she saw the two large words, Hong Manor, on the plaque in front of the manor, she realized that she and her group had been captured by the Hong clan. AI. No wonder these gray-robed men dared to capture people in Great City. It turned out that this was their territory. They just didn't know what kind of grudge the Yin clan had with the Hong clan, to the point that they were also implicated. After they were brought to the Hong family, Lung Ruoshua and the rest were locked up in a cell. However, they were locked up separately from the Yin family's father and daughter. which was exactly what she wanted. Lung Ruoxue leaned comfortably in the arms of the evildoer. She looked at the Yin clan members in the opposite cell, through the bars, and felt deep sense of sympathy for their encounter. Poor father and daughter of the Yin family. They were all tied up like a rice dumpling, but even so, Yin Ling Air's fierce eyes were still glaring at her. Sure, why do you always get glared at? Shuang said with a gloating smile. Is that even human? I didn't classify her as a human. Lung Ruoxue said with a face full of mockery. If she didn't respect others' things, she naturally didn't deserve to be respected. But she can't be considered a beast. Snow Shadow teased. Yup, you can categorize her as whatever you like, but just don't treat her as a human. Lung Ruoxue reminded with a faint smile. The human and beast cooperation almost caused Yin Ling, who was in the opposite cell, to explode from anger. Haha, well said, she really can't be considered a human in her current state. At this time, a woman's mocking voice rang out in the prison cell. Lung Ruoxue looked in the direction of the voice and saw a young lady in green. She was standing at the entrance of the cell with a beautiful smile on her face. Her eyes were filled with provocation as she looked at Yin Ling Air's cell. Woo-woo. When Yin Ling saw who it was, she stood up from the ground excitedly. It seemed like she wanted to say something, but her body was tied up and her mouth was gagged, so she couldn't say anything at all. You don't need to say anything. I won't let you out. You could just stay in the cell. The lady in green chuckled. Then, she turned her gaze towards Lung Ruoxue and the rest. Her eyes lit up when she saw the demon and Shuang. You're not from the Yin family? The lady in green raised her beautiful eyes and looked at the demon as she asked. Of course we're not from the Yin family. Seeing that the demon did not reply, Lung Ruoxue could only reply on his behalf. I'm not asking you. Who allowed you to speak out of turn? The green-clothed woman reproached. Her beautiful face was still filled with dissatisfaction. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. She was being nosy, but it seemed impossible for the woman to hear anything from the demon's mouth, because she had already sensed a trace of impatience from the demon. Miss Liu, you're really too rude. It's good that someone is willing to answer your question. You don't know how to be grateful, and even scolded him. You're really uneducated, Shuang said with a look of dissatisfaction. Who is Miss Liu? The green-robed woman asked, suppressing her anger. Of course it's you, Shuang said matter-of-factly, and couldn't help but secretly think to himself, why is the intelligence of all the women I've met these days so low? He didn't even know who he was calling. Compared to Shui, these women were simply retards. This made it very dissatisfied. Chapter 1323, The Yin Family's Enemy. 4. My surname is Hong, not Liu. The green-clothed woman couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, Who said your surname is Liu? I'm talking about the lady in green. Shui Ying said innocently. When Lung Ruoxue heard Shui Ying's reply, she could not help but chuckle softly. Shui Ying was really too bad. It was clearly calling out like that on purpose, purely to anger the woman in front of it. It was the same when it called Yin Ling last time. It seemed that Shui Ying was addicted to playing with her. If the one in red called her Miss Red, and the one in green called her Miss Green, then the next time he saw a young lady in other colors, would there be more Miss Black, Miss White, and so on? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but think to herself, what are you laughing at? Don't laugh. When Miss Hong, who was dressed in green, heard Lung Ruoxue's laughter, she could not help but shout out in anger. Miss Liu, you're quite meddlesome. Do you even care if others laugh at you? Lung Ruoxue asked with a calm smile. Damn it, my surname is not Liu. You're not allowed to call me Miss Liu. The lady in green was enraged. She pulled out the whip from her waist and lashed it at Lung Ruoxue. Why was it a whip again? Lung Ruoxue felt helpless. Why was it that at least 9 out of 10 women she met liked to use whips to display their might? Should she also prepare a whip and be ready to use it to whip people at any time? In fact, she didn't like weapons like whips. In fact, she hated whips to the core. Therefore, she didn't have a good impression of women who used whips to act violently. Therefore, when the green-clothed woman attacked, she also attacked. A small flame jumped happily towards the woman in green. In an instant, the whip in her hand turned to ashes. Not only that, the flame also spread to her wrist, causing her to cry out in pain. Immediately after, two guards rushed in from outside. After seeing the injured young miss, they quickly helped her out. When Yin Ling saw that Hong Xian, who was the lady in green, was injured, she was extremely pleased. However, she was still filled with killing intent towards Lung Ruoxue, who had caused Hong Xin's injury. After the lady in green was injured and left, the demon said to Lung Ruoxue with dissatisfaction, "Shui, I should be the one doing this. It's a man's responsibility to protect his woman. But I also want to protect my man from being coveted by other women, so I have to make a move when it's time." Lung Ruoxue chuckled. "Yes, we'll protect each other," the demon said in a slightly nauseating manner, causing Shui Ying to subconsciously hide to the side and even exaggeratedly shake his long snow-white fur. Shui Ying was just about to remind Lung Ruoxue that they would be in trouble soon after hurting Miss Lu. However, the trouble came faster than he had expected. He had only managed to say 2 words when he heard footsteps entering the cell. "Who is so bold to hurt our second miss?" A middle-aged man who looked like a butler shouted. "You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm seeing this. Lung Ruoxue and the other 2 didn't say anything. However, Yin Ling obviously wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity to get rid of Lung Ruoxue. Unfortunately, her mouth was gagged and she couldn't speak, so she could only use body language to express her thoughts. "Miss Yin, you know?" The butler looked at Yin Ling Er's appearance and quickly asked. His second miss had injured her hand and had fainted from the pain. They only knew that her second miss had been injured in the cell, but they didn't know who had injured her. That was why they had come to the cell to ask. Yes. Yin Ling nodded vigorously, afraid that the other party would not understand her meaning. "Since Miss Yin knows, please tell me who this person is," the butler said indifferently. Yes. Yin Ling kept nodding her head, and her eyes drifted to Lung Ruoxue. Following Yin Ling Er's line of sight, the steward's eyes landed on Lung Ruoxue. His eyes lit up instantly. He never thought that there would be such a stunning beauty locked up in this cell. However, if this beauty had really hurt the second young miss, she would not be able to live long. "Was it you who injured the second young miss?" the butler asked in a soft voice, putting away his strange thoughts. "If I said no, would you believe me?" Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. "There's a witness, of course I won't believe it." The butler thought for a moment and told the truth. "If that's the case, why are you still asking me?" Lung Ruoxue retorted. The butler was taken aback by Lung Ruoxue's question. He had not expected her to be such a beauty. The master would probably like this type of woman. At the thought of this, he smiled at Lung Ruoxue and said, "Although there are witnesses, the evidence is obviously not enough. When a young lady wakes up, I will ask her clearly. At that time, if it was really you who did it, don't blame me." After saying that, the butler led the team out of the cell. Looking at the Hong family's housekeeper leaving after asking a bunch of questions in a loud voice, Yin Ling felt extremely depressed. She couldn't help but curse in her heart. Fuck, what a useless man. He couldn't even handle such a small matter. In her opinion, since she had already testified against her, she should have arrested that hateful woman and tortured her. She shouldn't have just left after asking a few questions. Looking at the depressed Yin Ling, Lung Ruoxue smiled and said, "It seems that Miss Yan's wishful thinking will not work. However, don't blame me for not warning you. If you want to drag me down, I don't mind hitting you when you're down. We'll see who can live to the end." After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Yin Ling glared at her in anger. However, Lung Ruoxue ignored her. The next day, the Hong family's butler brought Lung Ruoxue to his study. After entering the study room, Lung Ruoxue found a chair and sat down as if she was in her own home. The man sitting behind the desk only smiled when he saw Lung Ruoxue's actions, but he did not criticize her. "May I know what is the relationship between Miss and the Yin family?" The man was the first to ask. "It doesn't matter. Lung Roashua said coldly, and casually raised her beautiful eyes to glance at the man who spoke. This man looked to be around 40 years old. Although he wasn't very handsome, he was still considered decent. His strength was around the middle level of a supreme deity. If she guessed correctly, this person should be the current family head or the substitute family head of the Hong family. Chapter 1324. The Yin Family's Enemy. 5. Since there's no relationship, then why is young lady and the rest with the Yin clan? The man asked in confusion. He had only sent people to catch the Yin family, but he didn't expect to catch a beautiful woman. However, if he knew that the beautiful woman in his eyes was caught willingly, he would probably be depressed. What are you saying? I can't be with the Yin family just because I have no relationship with them? What if I say I'm a prisoner of the Yin clan? Lung Roashua said calmly. Hearing Lung Roakshu's words, the man didn't know what to say. It seemed like the butler was right. Although this woman was beautiful, she was also ruthless. I don't know how young Miss became the Yin clan's prisoner. Now that the Yin clan's eldest master is in my hands, perhaps I can help young Miss get rid of her status as a prisoner. The man suggested with a smile. Miss Yin has taken a fancy to my man, so she wanted to kill me. However, she was frightened by my beastie, so the father and daughter caught us and wanted to bring us back to the Yin family to be dealt with. Lung Roashua explained simply. So that's how it is. Yin Ling has always been overbearing. As long as she has her eyes on something, she will definitely get it. Young lady has suffered. The man said sympathetically. It's not your place to apologize to me. Lung Roashua reminded him, feeling a little amused. She did not appreciate this man's goodwill, nor did she dare to. After all, she was not related to this man in any way. This fellow probably did not have any good intentions. Miss must have misunderstood me. I'm only doing this out of good intentions. The man said with a calm smile. Is that so? Lung Roashua smiled faintly and did not say anything. After that, the man tried to start a conversation with Lung Roashua. However, Lung Roashua seemed to be ignoring him. When a man saw this, he could only order the butler to send her back. After the Hong family's butler brought Lung Roashua out of the study, they did not return to the cell. Instead, they were brought to a side courtyard. That side courtyard was located in the southwest of the Hong family's main residence. Although it was a certain distance away from the main courtyard, the scenery in the courtyard was very unique. There was even a small stream that ran through the entire courtyard. A few beautiful fish were happily swimming around in the stream. Looking at the beautiful scenery and the pleasant weather, Lung Roashua chuckled and played dumb as she asked, Is this a prison cell? I've only been gone for a while, and the prison has changed? Of course this isn't a prison cell. My master knows that you're not a member of the Yin family and was afraid that you'd be wronged. That's why he ordered me to arrange for you to stay here. The butler explained, implying that Lung Roashua should appreciate his master's kindness. Oh, then what about my man and beastie? Lung Roashua asked with a smile. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm. Of course they don't have such treatment. The butler said with disdain. If that's the case, then please take me back to the prison. I want to be with them. Lung Roashua said in a serious tone. You, why are you so insensible? The butler shouted angrily. He was so excited that his entire body was trembling. Calm down. Old people shouldn't be so agitated. You'll die a sudden death. Lung Roashua reminded kindly. The butler was so angry that he could not speak. However, Lung Roashua had no intention of letting him off just like that. Are you going to bring me back to the prison, or bring my man and beastie here? Make your choice. After she finished speaking, Lung Roashua found a random spot in the garden and sat down, waiting for the butler, who was so angry that his face had turned green, to make a decision. After a long while, the butler heaved a sigh of relief and said helplessly, Little ancestor, they'll bring them here, all right? He admitted defeat. The master had ordered him to satisfy all the requests of this young lady. The master really forgot his daughter when he saw a woman. He had originally promised the second miss to severely punish this young lady, but after seeing her, he changed his mind. Not only did he ask him to arrange for this young lady to stay in the side courtyard, but he also ordered him to satisfy all her requests. This subordinate is in a difficult position. If the second miss knew about this, who knew what kind of trouble she would cause? Not long after, the butler brought the demon and Snow Shadow over. When Shui saw their new residence, he deliberately praised AI. It was good to be beautiful. There's always someone to take care of you, wherever you go. What did you just say? When the demon heard Shui Ying's words, he narrowed his eyes dangerously and asked with some displeasure. I didn't say anything. Shui Ying hurriedly covered her mouth, her heart trembling. Woo, this hateful fellow. Why did she get angry at such a cute little animal? If she wanted to vent her anger, she should go to a certain man who wanted to court her. Oomph. The evildoer snorted coldly, but his pitch-black eyes shot towards the Hong family's steward like a sharp arrow. The steward was so frightened that his body trembled even more. He casually found an excuse, and the steward fled. You're still the most powerful. Shui Ying's eyes were filled with countless stars as he spoke with an expression of worship. Shui, you've met the head of the Hong family? The demon ignored Shui Ying's admiration and asked Lung Ruoxue. I've seen him before. That person didn't introduce himself. Lung Ruoxue said honestly. Oh, what is he trying to do by doing all this? The demon frowned and said with a displeased expression. Isn't it obvious? Snow Shadow interrupted. No one will think you're mute if you don't speak. The demon roared angrily. All right, they'll just shut up. Shui Ying said in an extremely aggrieved manner. Woo, as a cute fox, why did it have no status? His resentful gaze drifted over to Lung Ruoxue, but was ignored by her. Seeing this, Shui Ying's heart was bleeding. The next day, the two humans and one beast had just finished lunch and were sitting in the garden, basking in the sun. However, they were suddenly disturbed by an uninvited guest. These uninvited guests were two women. One of them was the green-clothed woman they had seen a few days ago. She was also the young Miss Liu that Shui Ying had mentioned. Miss Liu, have your injuries recovered? I heard that your injuries aren't light. How did you get out of bed so quickly? Shui Ying looked at the furious green-clothed lady nearby and said with a regretful expression, Damn it, weren't you guys in the prison? Why are you here? Hong Xian looked at the relaxed Lung Ruoxue in front of him, and the anger in his heart rose. The Hong family is now in the hands of Miss Liu? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. What do you mean by that? Hong Xian asked in confusion. What I mean is if the Hong family isn't decided by Miss Liu, then you don't need to ask where we are. In fact, I also want to know why we were moved here from the cell. Lung Ruoxue said with a light smile. Miss, this is our Hong family after all. Therefore, you should be more polite to the master. At this time, the woman beside Hong Xian spoke softly. Lung Ruoxue turned to look at the woman who had spoken. She was dressed in light purple and had an alluring figure. Her delicate face was filled with charm, and her eyes were as alluring as autumn water. Her pink lips were slightly open, but her face was a little pale. She looked extremely pitiful. A woman like this could definitely arouse a man's strong desire to protect her. However, it was a pity that neither the man nor the fox in front of the lady in purple had the characteristics of being tender to a woman. Therefore, her weak appearance was a waste. Miss Z, you're so funny. We were captured by your Hong family, and you expect us to be polite to you? I really don't know if my brain is broken or if you don't have a brain. Lung Ruoxue imitated the way Shui Ying addressed her and said with a mocking expression, My last name is not Z. The purple-clothed woman's reaction was exactly the same as Hong Xian's. Her beautiful face didn't show anger from embarrassment, but an incomparable grievance. Her beautiful eyes were like autumn water, and she even secretly glanced at the demon. Unfortunately, the unromantic demon didn't even bother to raise his head, let alone look at her. When the purple-clothed woman saw that her charm, which had always been successful, had actually lost its effect in front of this handsome godlike man, her self-esteem could not help but take a blow. However, she, who had always been doted on by the Hong family, naturally would not easily admit defeat. Who cares what your last name is? Shuang laughed. These self-righteous women, did they really think that they cared about who they were? They were just too lazy to ask for their names, so they called them by the color of their clothes. Chapter 1325. The Decision of the Master of the Hong Family. 1. Stupid Fox. How dare you? How can you speak to my sister like that? Hong Xian saw that his sister was being bullied by a fox, and immediately roared in righteous anger. Miss Liu, calm down. You're the daughter of a big family. This will make you worry about not being able to get married. Shuang kindly reminded her. However, his words seemed to have touched the lady in green's sore spot. After the lady in green heard his words, she actually started to roar without caring about her image. Who are you saying can't get married? Why can't I get married? I don't know how many people are fighting to marry me. Hong Xian roared angrily, her beautiful face turning red. Seeing her like this, Lung Ruoxue and the rest only smiled indifferently and ignored the two women in front of them. Hey, I'm talking to you. Don't pretend to be mute. After a long while, Hong Xian saw that no one was paying attention to her and couldn't help but ask loudly, Miss Liu is talking to us? How come I didn't hear that? Lung Ruoxue played dumb. You just wait. This is our Hong family. You can't be so presumptuous. Hong Xian was furious. Just as she was about to whip Lung Ruoxue as usual to teach her a lesson, she realized that there was nothing on her waist. It was then that she suddenly remembered that her whip had been destroyed by this detestable woman in front of her. She had even been injured because of it. Hence, she was even more furious. Miss Liu, although we're just prisoners, we also have our dignity. As the master, you don't know how to love yourself. It's fine if you don't respect others, but you also don't care about your image and come to a place where others go and shout. If word of your current appearance spreads, I'm afraid that the Hong family's reputation will also be affected by you. At that time, not to mention you, even this gentle as water, weak and lovely sister of yours, I'm afraid no one will dare to want her. Lung Ruoxue reminded kindly. This young lady is right. We have been impolite. Xian, let's leave. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the lady in purple gave a slight bow as an apology. After she finished speaking, she pulled the extremely unwilling Hong Xian and left Lung Ruoxue and the others' residence. Looking at the back of the two people leaving, Shuang was quite puzzled and asked, Shuai, why did the two of them just leave like that? What else? Do you want Hong Xian to capture you and make you a beastie? Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly as she teased Hong Xian. She could still remember the look in Hong Zin's eyes when he first saw Shuang. I don't want to. I'm already taken. Snow Shadow looked at the evildoer provocatively as it spoke with a hint of pride. The master was referring to his naturally Lung Ruoxue. Although it had not officially recognized her as its master, in its heart, no one was more suitable than Lung Ruoxue to be its master. If it really wanted to recognize a master, it would definitely be Lung Ruoxue. No one else was worthy. Hearing Shui Ying's words, Lung Ruoxue's forehead was filled with black lines. Actually, she really wanted to tell Shui Ying that the words "a famous woman already has a master" should not be used carelessly. However, Shui was obviously doing this on purpose. Feeling the evildoer's rising anger, Lung Ruoxue tactfully pulled him into the room, in case Shui Ying was killed by him. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue and the demon had left, Shui Ying pretended to be sad and said, AI, why am I always the lonely one? After mumbling to himself, Snow Shadow also disappeared. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. After Hong Xian and her sister left the side courtyard, they came to the main courtyard angrily to question their father. Facing Hong Zin's questioning tone, the anger in the Hong family's head slowly rose. His face darkened as he said coldly, Are you questioning me? How can you speak to your own father like that? Father, you promised to help me take revenge. How can you go back on your word? Hong Xian pouted and said in dissatisfaction, That woman isn't a member of the Yin clan, and I'm not sure about her background. Do you think I'll just take the risk of avenging you? If the other party is someone we can't afford to offend, it will bring disaster to our Hong family. The man said, as if he was deep in thought. Oomph. Looking at the girl's dress, she didn't seem to be the daughter of a big family. Were you thinking, father? Or do you like that woman? Hong Xian obviously didn't believe his father's words and still asked loudly, "What nonsense are you spouting?" The man immediately felt embarrassed that his daughter had seen through his thoughts, so he loudly rebuked her. Oomph. Whether I'm talking nonsense or not, father knows very well in his heart. However, that woman is indeed a beauty, so it's reasonable for father to like her. Unfortunately, she's not qualified to be father's concubine. At most, she's only worthy of being a bed-warming servant girl. Hong Xian warned, You're getting more and more out of hand." The man suppressed his anger and growled. His daughter didn't have good taste, but that didn't mean she didn't either. How could a woman like her agree to be someone else's bed-warming servant? Although he knew that his daughter said this on purpose, he didn't know why, but he felt uncomfortable in his heart. Xian, don't talk nonsense. Father will be angry. Sensing her father's displeasure, the woman in purple tugged at Hong Xin's sleeve, trying to remind her to be careful with her words and not to anger her father. However, Hong Xin's temper was that it would be better if others didn't persuade her, but if someone did, her temper would only get worse. Therefore, not only did the purple-dressed woman's words not have a good effect, but it also made Hong Xian even angrier. "Father, don't forget that you promised to avenge me. Now, I want to add 2 more conditions. I want that man and that fox, and you have to find a way to get them for me." Hong Xian ordered like a queen. Her words made the man's heart skip a beat, and he almost fainted. You unfilial daughter. You actually dare to order me around. Men, lock up the second miss. Without my orders, no one is allowed to let her out. The man angrily shouted at the guard outside the door. The guard came in and took Hong Xian away without hesitation. "Father, Xian is still young and insensible. Please don't hold it against her. Please let her go." When the purple-clothed woman saw that Hong Xian was taken away by the guards, she quickly pleaded for mercy. The guard in the main courtyard only listened to her father, and Xian had angered her father. This time, she was afraid that Xian would have to stay in her courtyard for a while. "Lian, if Xian is half as sensible as you, he'll be content." The man sighed. In fact, he was very clear about the temperament of his 2 daughters. Although he seemed to dote on Hong Lian on the surface, in reality, he doted on Hong Xian more. Chapter 1326. The decision of the master of the Hong family. 2. Because although Hong Xin's temper wasn't good and was a little willful, but that was her true nature. As for Hong Lian, this daughter, she looked weak and fragile on the outside, but her schemes were too deep, and she was too good at disguising herself. If this kind of woman were to marry into another family, she would definitely be an excellent chess piece. However, in the Hong family, he had to be on guard. "Father, Xian is still young. When she's older, she'll be more sensible." Hong Lian consoled. "I hope so. Lian, your body hasn't fully recovered yet. Why did you come out? Quickly go back to your room and rest. I'll come to see you when I'm done." The man said with a concerned look, "Father, I've been weak and sickly since I was young. I've gotten used to it after so many years, so you don't have to worry about me. If it wasn't for my health, the relationship between our Hong family and the Yin family wouldn't be like this. I'll let you down, father. I'll let the Hong family down." Hong Lian's beautiful eyes were filled with tears. "Lian, how can you be blamed for this? Don't think too much about it." The man consoled. "But Hong Lian seemed to want to say something, but he didn't say it." "Lian, you don't have to say anything. Father understands. Quickly go back to your room and rest." The man hurriedly said, Father, then I'll go back to my room first." After Hong Lian finished speaking, he gave a bow and left. The moment Hong Lian left, the butler walked in. "Patriarch, what do you think we should do about this?" The butler asked carefully. He knew that the master was not in a good mood, but the master had to give him instructions so that he could carry out the next step. After all, he did not dare to make decisions on his own. "Did you send someone to inform the Yin clan?" The man asked coldly. I've already sent people over. Don't worry, patriarch. However, what about the other 3? The butler looked conflicted. What do you mean? Didn't you already arrange for them to stay in the side courtyard? The man asked in confusion. Master, what I mean is that second miss and them are like fire and water, and you're treating them so well. I'm afraid it will affect the relationship between you and your daughter. So, I hope Master will think twice. The butler reminded him in a low voice. You don't need to worry about this matter. I know what I'm doing. You can leave. The man said in a somewhat upset manner. You are reading on myboxn0vel.com, yes. The butler replied and turned to leave. At night, when Lung Ruoxue and the demon walked out of the room, they saw Xue Ying sitting in the garden. The stone table in front of him was filled with all sorts of delicacies, and Xue Ying was eating with great joy. Looking at Xue Ying, whose face was covered in oil, Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly and said, Xue Ying, pay attention to your image. It's a pity that you have such beautiful long fur. Xue, I know you've been drooling over my fur for a long time. Wait until I'm done eating, then I'll wash it and let you touch it all you want. Xue Ying laughed evilly. These things were all sent over by the attentive housekeeper, saying that it was for them to eat. However, Xue Ying was well aware that if it wasn't for Lung Ruoxue, they wouldn't have been able to enjoy such good treatment. Even though the food was not as delicious as the one Xue made, it was still acceptable. You're looking for death. The moment the demon heard Snow Shadow's words, his anger immediately surged up. He raised his leg and kicked in Snow Shadow's direction. However, Snow Shadow dodged it nimbly. What a petty man. You're so easily embarrassed and angry, Wu. Xue, he's bullying small animals. Xue Ying ran to Lung Ruoxue's side to seek protection. A small animal? Lung Ruoxue looked at Xue Ying, who had called himself a small animal, and could not help but laugh in her heart. To be honest, she had never seen such a huge small animal. If it became a small animal, then what would those smaller than it be called? A small animal? Xue, you have to protect me. Xue Ying tugged at Lung Ruoxue's clothes fearfully. Don't play around anymore. Be careful, or he'll really get angry. I won't help you then. Lung Ruoxue helplessly reminded. You're a woman who values her lover over her friends. I misjudged you. When Xue Ying heard this, he immediately pouted and said in a very dissatisfied manner, Then I'll value my lover over my friends. How's that? Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. There shouldn't be anything wrong with helping her man, right? What can I do? Don't be so fierce. Xue Ying's little heart trembled in fear. You're tactful. Lung Ruoxue chuckled. Xue, I won't tease you anymore. By the way, I went out for a walk this afternoon. Guess what I found out? Xue Ying said with a mysterious expression. Go out for a walk? With your giant fox appearance? No one wants to capture you as a beastie? Lung Ruoxue sized up Xue Ying and asked curiously. Oh, a 4th-rank sacred beast, or higher, seemed to be worth a lot of money, especially such a beautiful big fox. Presumably, many women would like it and want to keep it for themselves. TSK, who dares to capture me? I can't bite him to death. Xue Ying said arrogantly. Xue, do you want to know what I found out? Snow Shadow continued to ask. If you want to say it, then say it. If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Lung Ruoxue acted as if she didn't care. Can't you just cooperate? Xue Ying said gloomily. Woo, even Xue was bullying him. All right, Xue Ying, what did you find out? Lung Ruoxue asked, pretending to be curious. He'll tell you if you want to know. Xue Ying said with a hint of pride, his proud tail almost raised up. If you want to say it quickly. He'll roast you and eat you if you continue to talk nonsense. When the demon saw Xue Ying's smug look, he was so angry that he directly threatened him. Woo, Xue, he's going to eat me. When Xue Ying heard this, he looked at Lung Ruoxue with tears in his eyes, seeking protection. However, he was completely ignored by Lung Ruoxue. Then don't keep us in suspense. There's a limit to the patience of a demon. Lung Ruoxue reminded. All right then. Xue Ying cleared his throat and began to speak. I've heard that the Hong clan and the Yin clan were originally on good terms. However, the reason why they fell out with each other was because of the eldest miss of the Hong clan, the lady in purple, Hong Lian, whom we met this afternoon. The head of the Hong clan had the intention to be in-laws with the Yin clan, and Hong Lian happened to have taken a fancy to the fifth young master of the Yin clan. However, the fifth young master of the Yin clan did not like her and rejected the marriage on the spot. Hong Lian was so angry that his old illness relapsed, and the head of the Hong clan also deeply felt that he had hurt the face of the Hong clan. Hence, from then on, he continuously caused trouble for the Yin clan. The robbery of the Yin clan's first master this time was also because of this matter. Snow Shadow explained with a smile. Of course, it had heard these words from the streets, and it had not verified whether they were true or false. Chapter 1327. The decision of the master of the Hong family. 3. Could it be that the old master of the Yin clan doesn't know that his clan has already fallen out with the Hong clan? Why did you come to Hong City to settle down? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. According to common sense, if two clans had fallen out, normal people would not come to the other's territory to avoid being caught and use to threaten their own clans. However, this eldest master of the Yin clan did not take the usual route. He insisted on passing through the enemy's territory to return to his own clan. Wasn't he seeking his own death? It shouldn't be that he doesn't know. He just doesn't care. I didn't expect the Hong family to not let him off either. The demon said, I wonder if the Yin clan will send people to save their master if they find out that he has fallen into the hands of the Hong clan. Lung Ruoxue was extremely curious. If I don't want to save them, they'll just let them die on their own. The demon said coldly. It's a pity we're not from the Yin family. Lung Ruoxue laughed. Actually, her thoughts were similar to that of a demoness. For people like the Yin family's eldest master and daughter, living was a waste of food. It was better to die early and reincarnate. Sure, we just need to watch the drama between their two families. As for the debt of them kidnapping us, we will slowly settle it with them after the matter between them is resolved. The demon suggested. That's what I want. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. You guys are so bad, but I like it, Shuiying said with a smile. The two men and one beast looked at each other and laughed. They discussed their countermeasures and then went back to their own rooms. At the same time, the Yin clan had also received news from the Hong clan. The Yin clan's first master and the others were in their hands. When the Yin family head received this news, he was so angry that he spat out a mouthful of blood. When a Yin family member saw this, they couldn't help but turn pale with fright. After all, the family head was the backbone of their Yin family. They couldn't allow any mishaps. Therefore, at that moment, no one was in the mood to discuss how to save the father and daughter. They only wanted to comfort the master. Looking at the half-unconscious master, everyone in the Yin family was extremely worried. They all stayed by the master's bedside, not daring to leave. After all, this was the best time for them to show their loyalty to the master, so of course, they would not let it go. After a long while, only then did the patriarch of the Yin clan open his eyes and look at the people of the Yin clan gathered around his bed. Not only did he not feel relieved, but he felt even more upset. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. AI? Why didn't any of the Yin family's descendants make him worry? Master, you have to be careful of your health. You are the pillar of support for the Yin clan. For the sake of the Yin clan, you have to take care of your body. An elder from the Yin clan spoke first. Each and every one of them doesn't give me peace of mind. I'm so angry at these unfilial descendants that I'm about to die. The patriarch of the Yin clan said with a look of disappointment. Master, you don't have to worry about the eldest master's matter. Just leave it to me. The elder said, forget it. There's no need to care about his life or death. He clearly knows that our Yin family and the Hong family are like fire and water, yet he still came to the Hong family's territory. Even if something were to happen to him, he can't blame anyone else. He'll just treat it as if I never had this son. Although the head of the Yin clan was in a daze due to his illness, he had also thought it through very clearly. The reason why the Hong clan had captured his eldest son was nothing more than to blackmail him. Therefore, he could not destroy the Yin clan's many years of foundation just because of a useless son. If that happened, he would be too embarrassed to go to the divine world and meet the ancestors of the clan. Father, are you really not going to care about Big Brother and Ling? Second Master Yin couldn't help but ask. I don't care. Life and death are up to fate. It's all up to his own good fortune. The Yin clan master said ruthlessly. Master, have a good rest. Don't worry about these small things. The elder said, yes. The Yin family head nodded and indicated that they could leave. After everyone had left the patriarch's room, the Yin clan's second master quickly called out to a few of the elders and said with an anxious expression, Elders, Father is speaking in a fit of anger. You can't ignore Big Brother's life. Second Master, the patriarch's words just now were very clear. He told us not to care about the life and death of the first master. If we disobey the patriarch's orders and bring disaster to the family, we can't afford to take responsibility for it. One of the elders said helplessly, Yep, Second Master, the clan is currently in troubled times. We have to think for the clan. As for First Master, we can only count on his luck. Another elder said sympathetically. However, it was obvious that they were powerless to do anything about this. With that, the elders left hand in hand, leaving the Yin clan's second master standing alone in a daze. After a long time, only then did Second Master Yin react. He had originally planned to return to his own residence, but as he walked, he came to the guest courtyard where Ziyu and the others were staying. When he realized that he had gone to the wrong place, Ziyu and the others also happened to discover him. Ziyu and the others were sitting in the garden drinking tea and chatting. When they saw the somewhat absent-minded second master of the Yin clan, they were all puzzled. What was wrong with this second master? The second master of the Yin clan had often come to keep them company during the past few days they had been staying at the Yin residence. Therefore, they were considered familiar with the second master of the Yin clan. However, they had never seen this expression on the second master's face. Did something happen to the Yin family again? The four of them secretly guessed. Second Master, please sit. Ziyu invited with a smile. Thank you. The second master of the Yin clan sat down, but he did not say a word. Second Master, is there something that's troubling you? Why don't you tell us? Maybe we can give you some advice. Ziyu smiled faintly and said softly, AI, it's a long story. The Yin clan's second master heavily sighed. It's okay, we have time to listen to you. Yu Jing said, You guys should know my big brother, right? He was sent to Northern Yin City by Father a while ago, but he has yet to return. Second Master Yin said, I've heard of him. It's said that he has left Northern Yin City for a long time. Why hasn't he returned yet? Ziyu probed. He was captured by the Hong family. They're using him as a hostage. The Yin clan's second master said helplessly, What's going on with the Hong family? Ziyu and the other three were a little dumbfounded. The Yin clan aside, why was there a Hong clan now? Where's the young miss now? Chapter 1328. The decision of the master of the Hong family, for the Hong family and our Yin family were old friends. However, because of the falling out with the next generation's marriage, the Hong family now sees us as enemies. As long as they see the Yin family, they won't let them off. The Yin clan's second master said helplessly, Isn't it just a marriage? You're making a mountain out of a molehill by turning hostile over such a small matter. Bai Xian said, somewhat speechless. That marriage is just an excuse for the Hong family to fall out with us. In fact, the real reason is that the Hong family wants to swallow us up. Therefore, even without that marriage as the fire lock, they would still find other excuses to fall out with us. The second master of the Yin clan understood. Outsiders only thought that the Hong and Yin clans had fallen out because of the unsuccessful marriage, but that was not the case. The matter was not as simple as they thought. The head of the Hong clan was extremely ambitious. Otherwise, why would he take the opportunity to make trouble over a small marriage? His father had been seriously injured because of this and had yet to recover. So that's how it is. I wonder what the Yin clan's plans are? Ziyu asked indifferently. The Yin family is planning to leave my big brother to his own devices. The Yin clan's second master said with some difficulty. Oh, the Yin clan's decision is right. Just let that old master of yours live and die on his own. Yu Qing said with a gloating expression. Huh, the Yin family's decision really won her heart. After listening to Yu Qing's words, the Yin clan's second master's head was full of black lines. He really didn't know what his big brother had done this time. He actually let Yu Qing know that his big brother had been captured, and the Yin clan didn't plan to save him, and yet he was so happy. Hee hee. Second Master Yin, the Moon Eye didn't mean it. Don't take it to heart. Ziyu gave Yu Qing a look, asking her to restrain herself, and said to the Yin clan's second master with an apologetic face. I want tea. That big brother of mine is indeed not very likable. The second master of the Yin clan said awkwardly. It seems that you're quite clear about this. Yu Qing said with a smile. Second master, Yin didn't know what to say anymore. He could already confirm that his eldest brother had indeed done something they didn't know about. Otherwise, he wouldn't have such an attitude. He probably wouldn't come looking for him. The extremely embarrassed second Master Yin, after understanding the intentions of Ziyu and the others, could not stay any longer. Not long after, he stood up and took his leave. Watching the Yin clan's second master's back as he left, Yu Qing disdainfully pouted. She then turned to look at Ziyu and said, Ziyu, not only did the Yin clan's first master not bring the young miss back, he even implicated the young miss and got her captured by the Hong clan. Let's go to the Hong clan. Let's just wait and see. No matter if the young lady is in the hands of the Yin clan's first master or in the Hong clan, she won't be in any danger. Ziyu said, feeling assured. But it's been so long. I can't wait any longer. Why don't I go to the Hong residence myself, and you guys wait for me and miss at the Yin residence? Yu Qing suggested. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. That's good. Then you should make a trip to the Hong family. Ziyu looked at Yu Qing's eager appearance and said helplessly, Yu Qing, he'll go with you. Xiang, received Ziyu's hint and quickly said, Then let's go. The Moon Eye said happily, hee hee. She was really afraid that Ziyu would object just now. With Yu Qing's impetuous nature, the two of them left Yin City in the next moment. Only after leaving Yin City did the two of them realize that they actually didn't know where the Hong family was. What should he do? If he went back to ask around, he would be laughed at by Ziyu. Therefore, the two of them could only bite the bullet and ask around to find their target. Fortunately, Hong City wasn't far from Yin City, and the people in the vicinity knew the location. Otherwise, they would have to take many unnecessary steps. However, after arriving at Hong City, they weren't too sure if their young lady was really here until they contacted Lung Ruoxue. After the two of them confirmed Lung Ruoxue's location, they went straight to the Hong family's main residence. However, before the two of them could enter, they were stopped by the guards at the door. We're looking for someone, Yu Qing said with some displeasure. Looking for who? Do you have a letter of visit? The guard asked loudly. No, I didn't see. We're looking for my young miss, but she was captured by you along with the Yin clan. Xianger explained in a soft voice. Originally, she wanted to ask the guard to inform them. However, Yu Qing said that the young lady had been captured and wasn't here as a guest. How could the guards of the Hong family inform them? After hearing this, Xianger felt that it was reasonable and agreed with Yu Qing's idea of barging in. Perhaps the Hong family would be angry and lock them up with the young lady. With this thought in mind, the two of them swaggered past the guards at the door and wanted to walk in directly. However, they could ignore the guards, but the guards could not ignore them. Therefore, they were stopped as they wished. Wait a moment, I have to report this. When the guard heard Xiang Er's words, he hurriedly said, Seeing the guard's reaction, the two of them were dumbfounded. What was going on? Their attitudes were equivalent to smashing the place. So why did the guards still have to go in and report? Just as the two of them were confused, the butler of the Hong family walked out. You want to see the young lady who was with the Yin family? The steward's shrewd eyes swept over Yu Qing and Xiang Er. When he discovered that the two of them only had the strength of an initial stage deity, He didn't pay too much attention to them and asked indifferently. Yes, I am. Xiang nodded. Follow me. The butler saw that the two of them were not very powerful, and they were both women. He did not ask any questions and brought them into the Hong residence. Then he brought them all the way to the side courtyard where Lung Ruoxue and the others were staying. Yu Qing and Xiang followed behind the Hong family's butler, and the two of them were still communicating with each other through voice transmission. Xiang, what do you think is going on with the Hong family? Is he trying to trick us into coming here and then get rid of us? Seeing the Hong family's reaction, Yu Qing was a little worried. I don't think so. Xiang was also a little confused, not knowing what the Hong family was up to. However, when they saw Lung Ruoxue, everything became clear. As they followed the butler to the side courtyard, the two of them saw Lung Ruoxue sitting in the garden. Chapter 1329. The Decision of the Head of the Hong Family. 5. Miss. The two of them could not care less about the presence of the Hong family's butler. They immediately pounced towards Lung Ruoxue. Seeing this, the demon quickly pulled Shui into his arms, causing Yu Qing and Xiang to miss. Miss. The two of them looked at Lung Ruoxue with hidden bitterness, as if they were complaining. Young Miss Lung, these two people said that they are your maidservants. I wonder if you know them? The butler asked calmly. The truth was already in front of him, but he still had to ask. I do, they are my people. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Oh, then I won't care about their matters anymore. Miss Lung, you can make your own arrangements. The butler said. After he finished speaking, he bowed and turned to leave. Miss, what's going on? Weren't you captured by the Hong family? Yu Qing asked in puzzlement. The Hong clan's attitude towards their young miss was really too strange. This courtyard didn't seem like it was meant to be used as a prison. That's right, we were captured by the Hong family. Lung Ruoxue was extremely calm. Does the Hong family treat their prisoners so well? Xiang Er's face was also filled with curiosity. Shui is not an ordinary prisoner. Shuang laughed evilly. Could it be that the old fart from the Hong family has designs on our young miss? Yu Jing was a little angry when she heard this. Calm down, Shui, or isn't that easy to get your hands on? But why are you here? Shuang asked curiously. We were originally at the Yin residence, but we heard that the young lady and the Yin clan's old master were captured by the Hong clan. The Yin clan had no intention of saving the old master, so we came over. Ziyu and Bai Xian are still at the Yin residence. Yu Qing explained. Oh, you're saying that the Yin clan doesn't intend to save their lord? Lung Ruoxue asked in shock. It seemed like the Yin clan was quite decisive in their actions. That old master of the Yin clan was indeed not worth saving. Yes, the second master of the Yin family said it himself. Yu Jing said, You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Com, Shui, since the Yin family has decided to give up on their master, do you think we should tell this news to Master Hong? They've treated us with good food and drinks, so we should return the favor, right? Shuang said with a smile as he thought of an evil idea. If the Hong family finds out about this, the father and daughter will definitely not have a good life. Lung Ruoxue smiled as she reminded him. This has nothing to do with us. Isn't it good for them to fight each other? At that time, we'll be like the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind, and wipe out both of them. Snow Shadow suggested. No, the Yin clan is a dark clan. If we offend them, we will be in deep trouble. Jiang Chun said. Xiang stopped him. What are you afraid of? Isn't it just a dark clan? There are so many of us here. Do we need to be afraid of them? Yu Qing said disapprovingly. Dark clan? What is this? Lung Ruoxue was bewildered. She only knew that there were 8 god domains in the god world, and that they were the top forces in the god world. As for the Dark Clan, this was the first time she had heard of it. The Dark Clan in the divine world refers to the clans that keep a low profile, but their methods are quite ruthless. Their identity and actions are extremely mysterious, and they're not exposed to the public like the 8 great divine domains or the beast clans. In other words, They are people who walk in the dark world, but they also have businesses on the surface, hidden among many forces. If they don't say it themselves, no one will know that they are a member of the Dark Clan. Xiang explained. Oh, Lung Ruoxue nodded her head. It seemed like the Yin clan was part of the underworld. However, no matter how terrifying the Yin family's underhanded methods were, it was impossible for those who provoked her not to pay the price. Young lady, the people of the divine world won't easily offend the people of the Dark Clan, because once they do, it means that they will have to suffer their endless revenge. Xiang couldn't help but add, if the Yin clan is a dark clan, and the dark clan is as powerful as you said, why doesn't the Yin clan have much of a reaction when the Han clan is bullying them? Lung Ruoxue could not understand. This? I'm not sure. Xiang said gloomily. Isn't it obvious? The Han clan and the Yin clan are evenly matched, perhaps even stronger. Otherwise, why would the Yin clan swallow their anger? The demon said, with an understanding look. It's also possible that the Hong family is one of the dark families. Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she added. Yes. The demon nodded in agreement. Miss, what should we do now? Yuqing couldn't help but ask. Find a suitable opportunity to leak the news that the Yin clan is planning to give up on the Yin clan's eldest master. At that time, we can just sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Hee, leave this matter to me. Snow Shadow said with a smile. Just as he finished speaking, he disappeared with a whoosh. This guy is really fast. Xiang wiped the cold sweat off her forehead. It's been holding back for a while, so it naturally has to make good use of such an opportunity. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. The next day, rumors spread in Hong City, and naturally, some people in the Hong family heard it. In Master Hong's study, a man sat behind the desk with a heavy expression as he listened to the butler's report. After a long while, he asked, Is this news true? Family head, the people we sent to Yin City have yet to return. This news came from Yin City, so in my opinion, it's most likely true. The butler thought for a moment before he spoke in a very cautious manner. Butler, what do you think I should do? The man asked after thinking for a while. Master, I'm just a butler. You have to make the decision for such a big matter. The butler said with fear and trepidation. I'm not asking you to make any decisions for me. I'm just asking you to share your thoughts. The man helplessly reminded. Clan head, this subordinate feels that since the Yin clan has decided to give up on the Yin clan's eldest master, then we don't have to be polite to the father and daughter. We might as well directly attack the Yin clan. Last time, Clan head Yin was injured by the Great Elder, and I'm sure your injuries have not yet recovered. The butler thought for a moment and said, I also want to kill my way into the Yin family, but the Great Elder might not agree. If I wasn't in danger last time, that old thing wouldn't have made a move. Although he was the head of the Hong family, the Great Elder's status in the family was higher than his. This had always made him feel uncomfortable. However, the Great Elder's strength was above his, so even if he wanted to use his strength to force the Great Elder to lower his head, it was impossible. I think we can keep it a secret from the Great Elder. The patriarch of the Yin family is currently injured and definitely isn't his match. If we miss this rare opportunity, it will be difficult to deal with the Yin clan once they recover. The butler reminded, That's good. Go and find the other elders now. Remember, don't alert the Great Elder. The man thought for a moment and cautiously reminded, This subordinate understands. The butler nodded carefully and left the study. After the elders of the Hong family were secretly invited, they had no choice but to agree to the master's plan under the coercion and temptation of the master of the Hong family. After that, the master of the Hong family sent someone to invite Lung Ruoxue and the others. On the way to Yin City, Master Hong was afraid that Lung Ruoxue would not be used to riding beasts, so he specially found a luxurious beast carriage for her to sit in. Yuqing and Xiang were her maidservants, so they naturally accompanied her. As for the demon and Shuang, they did not receive such treatment. Miss, what is this master of the Hong family doing? Xiang Er's face was filled with confusion. If their Hong family wanted to go to the Yin family to find trouble, why did they have to drag them along? They didn't say they were going. He's not playing tricks, he's looking for death, Yu Qing said with some schadenfreude. She could feel the cold air behind the car that made people shiver. She didn't believe that the Hong family head wouldn't notice it at all. Yes, that's right. You're looking for death. Xiang agreed with Yu Qing's words. AI. Lung Roashua looked at the two excited beauties in front of her and felt helpless. She really did not know what the two of them were excited about. Chapter 1330, Being Framed. 1. Actually, according to Lung Roashua's original intention, she didn't want to sit in the beast-drawn carriage. However, the demon was afraid that she would tire herself out, so he forcefully pushed her in. He then followed behind the carriage and sulked, causing her to feel as though she was sitting on pins and needles. Sob. She wasn't that delicate. The beast-drawn carriage was moving very slowly and steadily. The demon and Shuang followed behind the carriage and walked slowly as well. However, Shuang did not dare to get within 3 feet of the demon because the demon's entire body was emitting a cold air that made one's heart palpitate, causing one to shiver. Why are you so far away from me? His devilish black eyes glanced at the snow figure not far away and said with slight displeasure, "I'm cold." Shuang shook the long fur on his body and said with a face full of fear, "Cold? Come over. I'll help you warm up." The demon said ambiguously, No need." When Snow Shadow heard the demon's words, he was so scared that he hid even further away. "Are you coming over?" The demon saw that Shuang wasn't cooperating and asked indifferently with his half-squinted eyes. "Woo, don't scare me. He'll go over," Shuang said shamelessly. He kept consoling himself in his heart. "You can't blame me for this. This man was giving it too much pressure. It's all that damned head of the Hong family's fault. Why did you have to be so attentive for no reason?" He had also implicated it. After saying that, Shuang slowly walked to the side of the demon with small steps. The demon hugged Snow Shadow's huge body and deliberately said, "You're not cold anymore, are you?" "I'm not cold. If you want to vent your anger, go and kill that master of the Hong family. Every injustice has its perpetrator, and every debt has its debtor. You must not vent your anger on me," Shuang said carefully. "Don't worry. I won't vent my anger on you." The demon gritted his teeth and subconsciously clenched the soft long hair on Snow Shadow's body. "Then what are you doing now?" "Woo, it's fur." Shuang was wailing in his heart, and he kept complaining. However, he didn't dare to say these words out loud. He could only grit his teeth and bear with it, because a jealous man was unreasonable. And at this moment, that woman who didn't know what was good for her came over to court death. Looking at the Hong sisters who were slowly approaching, Shuang was gloating in his heart, because he was very clear that the people this evil-looking man didn't want to see the most were probably the Hong family members. But these two sisters didn't seem to notice at all. Woo! It could also be said that she was completely infatuated with the handsome man, so she automatically ignored this kind of disgust. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm after the two shy sisters arrived in front of the evildoer. Their charming faces were dyed with a layer of red. When Shuang saw this, he felt his hair stand on end and goosebumps appear on his body. Oh my God! Did these two women have to be so exaggerated? Was there need to blush? It's not like she's never seen a man before. It should be known that the thing it couldn't stand the most was women who blushed at the sight of men, as if they were innocent and shy. In fact, many of these women were deliberately acting. Unfortunately, some men liked this. However, it was very sure that the man in front of it definitely did not like it, so their efforts were in vain. Furthermore, wasn't it said that eldest Ms. Hong liked fifth young Master Yin? Since that's the case, why are you so embarrassed when you see other men? She was really a woman who looked pure on the outside, but was promiscuous on the inside. Shuang thought to himself in disdain. Young Master, we're preparing to rest and make lunch. What do you want to eat for lunch? Hong Lian asked softly. Her voice was so gentle that it seemed like water could drip out. Young Master? Hearing these two words, Shuang laughed wildly in his heart. The current scene seemed to be a maidservant asking her young master what he was going to eat for lunch. Hee hee. In fact, the Hong sisters did not know the name of the devilish man beside it, so they could only address him as young master. However, such a form of address, coupled with the Hong sisters' shyness and attentiveness, made them look like maidservants. My young master can eat anything he wants. However, he really wants to know how long it will take to reach the destination at this speed. Seeing that the evildoer had no intention of paying attention to the Hong sisters, Shuang took the initiative to reply on his behalf. I think we'll be there in 2 days. Hong Lian chuckled and replied, Oh, but I heard that Yin City is less than 2 days away from Hong City. Why are you guys so slow? Shuang glanced at the head of the Hong family, who had already gotten down from his mount, and asked, pretending to be puzzled. From its point of view, the Hong family wasn't planning on challenging the dojo at all. It was more like they were going on an outing. Otherwise, why would he bring his family along to cause trouble? It would be fine if the family was strong, but one of them was weak and sickly, as if he would fall with a gust of wind, and the other was also a big-breasted, brainless idiot who only had men in his eyes. Bringing these 2 women along with him would only be a waste of time. We have more people, so of course we have to walk slower. Moreover, we have to take care of you people who don't have mounts, so we naturally can't walk faster. Hong Xian said matter-of-factly. In fact, she did not hear the sarcasm in Shui Ying's words. Otherwise, she would have been depressed. Oh. Then we have to thank you for your care, Shui Ying said with a faint smile. There's no need for a verbal thanks. If you really want to thank me, then be my contracted beast. Hong Xian shamelessly requested. I have a master. Shui Ying wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and said in a speechless manner. This Miss Hong was really not an ordinary brainless person, was she? This kind of request was actually said so naturally. Could it be that she really thought that she was in high demand, that just because she was a beastie, she wanted to be her contracted beast? You can take the initiative to cancel the master-slave contract. This way we can change owners. Hong thought, how could she not know that this fox had a master? If she didn't know that it had an owner, she would have ordered people to capture it and force it to sign a contract. Unfortunately, there was no way to use force on a beastie that had an owner. Beastie can take the initiative to break the master-slave contract. How come I didn't know about it? Snow Shadow's face was full of surprise and puzzlement. He had lived for so long, but he had never heard of a master-slave contract being terminated by a beastie. If that was the case, would it still be called a force contract? You can ask your master to remove it. Hong Xian warned. If master listens to everything I say, would you still be called master? Snow Shadow asked with a smile. Chapter 1331. Being framed, too. If she doesn't listen, it'll kill her. At that time, your contract can still be terminated. Hong Xian said in an overbearing manner. Miss Liu, if you kill my master, I will die as well. Shuang rolled his eyes and said helplessly, sigh. This woman really didn't have much common sense. All the beasts knew that after signing a master-slave contract, if the master died, the beast would also die. I see. Then it'll force your master to break your master-servant contract. Hong Xian thought and said, If you have the ability, then go ahead. Shui Ying said in an unpleasant tone. You will definitely be mine. Hong Xian said confidently. I'm looking forward to it. Shui Ying was too lazy to respond to Hong Xian. After saying these few words, he didn't say anything else. Shui Ying did not say anything, and the demon did not even bother to look at the 2 sisters. The 2 sisters stood there like fools for a while, then left embarrassedly. If they did not leave, everyone's attention would be attracted to them. However, as they left, the 2 of them could not help but secretly complain about the demon's lack of romantic feelings. What do you think they'll do next? Snow Shadow said, as if he was waiting to watch a good show. Hee hee. Although on the way to Yin City, there was a time bomb that could explode at any time, it was quite interesting to watch the 2 sisters fight for a husband. You'll have to ask them, the demon said coldly, the cold chi on his body growing thicker. But it seems that there are more than 2 women who are interested in you. As Shui Ying spoke, he also stole a glance at Yin Ling who was in the prison carriage not far away from them. The father and daughter of the Yin family were currently locked in the prison carriage that was filled with slaves, and the possibility of escape was zero. Their subordinates were also tied up and slowly following behind the carriage. So what? The demon lifted his eyelids and asked indifferently, "Will they start a fight?" Shui Ying's face was filled with curiosity. "I don't know," the demon said with a lack of interest. After he finished speaking, he left Shui Ying behind and walked towards Lung Ruoxu's beast-drawn carriage. He lifted the curtain and entered. Hee. This man finally couldn't take it anymore. He clearly didn't want Shui to sit in that car, but he still pretended to be generous. Sigh. Wasn't it tiring? Shui Ying looked at the back of the demon and muttered to himself. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL. Calm, however, it didn't follow them. Instead, it quietly walked to Hong Xin's side and said something to her. Then, it saw Hong Xin angrily walking towards Yin Ling Air's prisoner carriage. Not long after, Yin Ling Air's howls and curses were heard, but they were ignored by everyone present. The evildoer who had just entered the beast carriage was about to say a few words to Shui when a woman's painful howl came from outside. He frowned and felt a little resentful that the voice came at the wrong time and disturbed his time with Shui. What's going on outside? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. This voice should be Yin Ling, but why was she screaming so miserably? I don't know. There's no need to care about those irrelevant things. The demon pulled Shui into his arms and said indifferently. Yu Qing and Xiang, who were originally in the carriage, left the moment they saw the evildoer enter. Otherwise, Lung Ruoxue would not have allowed the evildoer to do whatever he wanted. However, in the car, the most he could do was hug her. Oh, the team has stopped? Lung Ruoxue asked again. Yes, he said he wanted to rest and prepare lunch. The demon said, a little speechless, they really know how to enjoy themselves. Lung Ruoxue didn't know what to say. She didn't seem to have walked much in the morning. Why are you resting so soon? Yup. By the time they arrive at the Yin clan would have received the news and made preparations. The demon laughed evilly. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Previously, she had specially asked Yu Qing to secretly return to Yin City and leak the news. The Yin clan should be making preparations by now. At this moment, the voice of the Hong family's master suddenly rang in their ears. They looked at each other and saw the impatience in each other's eyes. Master Hong, what's the matter? Lung Ruoxue and the demon opened the curtains and walked out unwillingly. Young Miss Lung, I've ordered my subordinates to prepare lunch. Let's eat together. The master of the Hong family smiled very affably. Although the man in front of him was an eyesore, he couldn't show it because of his demeanor. Thank you, Master Hong. However, I've already asked the maidservants to prepare the food, so we won't be eating with you. Lung Ruoxue declined. All right then. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the master of the Hong family did not force her. He nodded his head slightly and turned to leave. Miss, the food is ready. Yu Qing, who had been paying attention to their movements, suddenly shouted. Then, he took out a table from his storage ring and placed the food on it. Yes. Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she walked to the table and pulled the evildoer to sit down with her. Yu Qing, Xiang and Shui Ying sat down beside them. Shui, I feel a very unfriendly gaze. Oh, not just one, at least 2, at most 3. Shui Ying smiled as he spoke in a tongue-twister-like manner. Can't you stuff your mouth with food? Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Shui Ying and said helplessly, I'm just reminding you to be careful. Shui Ying chuckled, his face clearly showing that he wanted to watch a good show. Don't you think you're too free? Do you want me to cancel the master-servant contract between us and throw you to that, Miss Liu? Lung Ruoxue raised her brows slightly and teased. She had heard everything they had said outside, so she naturally knew how Shui Ying had replied. Dante, I'm in the wrong, all right. Shui Ying said with a face full of fear and secretly made up his mind. If Shui, really threw him to Hong Xian, then he would go all out and kill that woman. It could do it. It wasn't a kind fox to begin with. Chapter 1332. Being Framed 3. It's a great virtue to know one's mistake and change for the better. However, you have to tell me, what did you say to Hong Xian just now? Why did she turn around and look for trouble with Yanling? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Shui, curiosity killed the cat. Snow Shadow reminded. I'm not a cat, so I'm not afraid. Lung Ruoxue said disapprovingly. That's good. Then I'll tell you. Actually, I didn't say anything. However, when she told Hong Xian that Yanling was also having ideas about someone, she exploded in anger. So, Yanling was unlucky. Shui, I've taken revenge for you. Shuiying said with a fawning expression. Why don't you tell Hong Xian that Hong Lian is also thinking about the demon? Lung Ruoxue asked out of curiosity. TSK, even if I told her, Hong Xian wouldn't believe me, unless she sees the truth with her own eyes. Shuiying said in understanding, and his gaze involuntarily turned to the demon. Don't even think about it. I can't be bothered to put on an act with them. The demon warned coldly. How would I dare to have any ideas about you? I just want to borrow the beastie that can set up illusions from Shui. Shuiying quickly clarified. You said confusion? Lung Ruoxue asked in surprise. It seemed like Shuiying was quite familiar with her beastie. Yes, lend it to me, Snow Shadow requested. All right then. Lung Ruoxue nodded. With a thought, she took out a small, snow-white snake from her bracelet. Master! The moment the charm appeared, it took the initiative to climb onto Lung Ruoxue's wrist. Hey, you little snake, why do you only have eyes for your master? Don't tell me you didn't see us? Seeing that he had been ignored, Shuiying could not help but say, with some envy and jealousy, shouldn't a beastie only have its master in its eyes? Was said matter-of-factly. All right, you're right, but you can't just ignore the rest of us. You should at least inform us. Shuiying said, somewhat unconvinced. You are reading on MYBOXN0VEL.com. You're not even human. Huo mumbled softly, then buried his head under his body, ignoring the bored fox. Ha. Seeing Shuiying's depressed expression, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but smile happily. Her spiritual beasts were really too cute. Shui, your beastie is too good at bullying people. Snow Shadow accused. You're not a human, you're a fox. Lung Ruoxue mimicked the tone of confusion. Ha. Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Yuqing and Xiang couldn't help but chuckle softly, while Shuiying was even more depressed. Burying his head in his food, Shuiying was so depressed that he didn't want to bother with bad people like Lung Ruoxue. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue took the initiative to place the bewitching god on Shuiying's claws and said, Take it and play. You're the one who let me play with this. Shuiying raised his head and said excitedly. There was no trace of gloominess on his face. Yes. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head helplessly. After lunch, the group from the Hong family continued on their way. In the evening, they specially found a spacious area to set up their tents. Master Hong wanted to help Lung Ruoxue and the others set up their tents as well, but he was rejected. After dinner, Lung Ruoxue brought the evildoer, Yuqing and Xiang, into the bracelet to rest while Shuiying sneaked out of the tent. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue and the rest had just left the tent when they felt that the atmosphere was not right. However, she did not think too much about it. Miss Lung, can I have a word with you? Just as Lung Ruoxue was about to eat her breakfast, Master Hong walked over with a serious expression. Master Hong, if you have anything to say, just say it. They're not outsiders. Lung Ruoxue chuckled. I want to talk to you in private. The head of the Hong family said. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the evildoer. Seeing that he did not object, she nodded her head unwillingly. Following that, she followed behind Master Hong. Watching them walk away, Yuqing couldn't help but worry. That guy wouldn't have any bad intentions towards young miss, right? What can't you say in front of us? Why must you say it in private? He definitely doesn't have any good intentions. Don't talk nonsense. Maybe that Master Hong really has something to discuss with our young miss. Can't you see how cautious he is? Xiang sneaked a glance at the evildoer and pulled Yu Qing's sleeve as she reminded him. That's true. If he dares to have any ill intentions towards Miss, then he'll definitely be the unlucky one. Yu Qing hurriedly said. Her heart couldn't help but beat wildly. Who? That was close. Fortunately, Xiang reminded her, otherwise, if she continued to speak, Leader Yi would definitely fly into a rage. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue had followed Master Hong out of the line of sight. Seeing that he had no intention of stopping, she said directly, Hong family head, are you planning to walk back to Hong City? If you have anything to say it here. All right. The master of the Hong family nodded and said awkwardly. In fact, he just wanted to stay away from his family's team, but he didn't expect to walk so far by accident. Miss Lung, didn't you hear anything last night? The head of the Hong family couldn't help asking. Should I have heard something? I'm sorry. I slept too deeply last night and didn't hear anything. However, does this have anything to do with what the Hong family's head is talking about? Lung Ruoxue's face was filled with bewilderment. She was extremely annoyed by the master of the Hong family's nonsense. Last night, the man beside you seduced my 2 daughters and caused them to turn against each other. Shouldn't Miss Lung give me an explanation for this matter? The master of the Hong family took a deep breath and said with some difficulty, Master Hong, do you know what you're saying? He was with me the entire time yesterday. How could he have the chance to seduce your daughter? Lung Ruoxue laughed coldly as she retorted, Humph. It wasn't the first or second day that the Hong sisters had been coveting the evildoer, so why would they need to specially seduce him? If she didn't seduce him, she would probably take the initiative to pounce on him. Miss Lung, are you sure? There's no man who doesn't like to play around. Maybe he sneaked out while you were asleep, so you didn't know. The head of the Hong family reminded, Master Hong, I know my man better than anyone else. He would never do such a thing. If you want to sow discord, I'm afraid you found the wrong person. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with mockery. Chapter 1333, Being Framed for Miss Lung, please don't be angry. He was indeed the one who did something good yesterday. We all saw it. The head of the Hong family said with a pained expression. Actually, his words were indeed trying to sow discord. However, for the sake of the 3 of them, he had no choice but to say these words. However, he didn't want Lung Ruoxue to misunderstand him. Otherwise, it would be counterproductive. Master Hong, you said he did a good thing. He also said that you all saw it. Then can you tell me what good things he has done? Lung Ruoxue asked a little impatiently. This man had been talking for a long time, but he still did not get to the point. Her patience was running out. Last night, my eldest daughter, Lian, was seen by my youngest daughter, Xer, when they were confessing their feelings to each other. Therefore, the 2 of them have completely fallen out because of this man. The head of the Hong family said helplessly, What does that have to do with me? Lung Ruoxue couldn't understand. Hong Shiner had seen your eldest daughter and the evildoer expressing their love for each other. That was a matter between your daughters. It shouldn't be her fault. Therefore, she really couldn't understand why the head of the Hong family had come to find her. Miss Lung, is he not your man? Your man is having an affair with another woman behind your back. Can you bear it? The master of the Hong family reminded her with a face full of righteous indignation. Actually, what he said was a little exaggerated. Last night, it wasn't Lian and that devilish man who were confessing their feelings to each other. It was a confession to the man, and Xian happened to see it. Xian immediately made a fuss and made it known to everyone. The man took the opportunity to slip away, causing him to be unable to find anyone to settle the score with. He had endured it with great difficulty until the morning before he impatiently went to find Lung Ruoxue. Master Hong, aren't you exaggerating a little too much? Even a fool can tell that your 2 daughters like my man, but I'm sure you are well aware of my man's attitude towards them. How could they possibly confide in each other? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. Miss Lung, men always like to act one way in front of others and another way behind their backs. Maybe he did it on purpose for you to see. In fact, he has an improper relationship with my 2 daughters. The head of the Hong family said. Lung Ruoshua laughed when she heard Master Hong's words. She was speechless as she said, "It seems like Master Hong really wants my man to be related to your 2 daughters. This is the first time I've seen a father who slanders his own daughter." Miss Lung, you've misunderstood me. It's absolutely true that the man beside you has a relationship with my daughter. Don't be fooled by him again. The head of the Hong family said with a face full of disappointment, but in his heart, he couldn't help but sigh. Was he overreaching himself? Master Hong, I'm clear whether my man is related to your 2 daughters or not. I think you also know whether what happened last night was true or not. Therefore, I don't want to hear such words anymore. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I will do. Lung Ruoshua warned. The coldness in her words caused Master Hong's heart to tremble. With that, Lung Ruoshua turned around and left. Looking at Lung Ruoshua's back, Master Hong was extremely vexed. How could this be? Shouldn't women be angry and jealous when they hear such things? Why was this woman's reaction so different? He could not understand. Originally, he had wanted to use last night's incident to cause a rift between them, so that he could take advantage of it. But who knew that not only did he not achieve the effect he wanted, but he had also overreached himself. How did this happen? No, he had to make that man take responsibility for his daughter. Otherwise, he would not be able to get what he wanted. Thinking of this, he turned around and walked back. When he returned to the group, he saw Lung Ruoshua and that devilish man sitting under the shade of a tree acting lovey-dovey while his 2 daughters each stood in a corner, glaring at the two of them with hidden bitterness. You are reading on MYBOXN0VL. Calm when he saw this, he walked up without hesitation and asked angrily, "What did you do to my daughter yesterday? You've caused them to almost die, so you have to give me an explanation." This time, he was speaking directly to the evildoer. The evildoer, who was talking to Lung Ruoshua, was confused by Master Hong's sudden words. He raised his head and glanced at Master Hong, then at the 2 daughters of the Hong family. He then said in an extremely cold tone, "What did I do to them? Weren't they living well? How is it dying? You still dare to deny it? You're the one who seduced my 2 daughters, and now you're denying it. Are you even a man?" The master of the Hong family was so angry that his face turned red and he roared in anger. When Lung Ruoshua saw the look on Master Hong's face, she sighed speechlessly and thought to herself, sigh. This Hong family's main lead was addicted to acting. Seeing that she didn't believe his words, he directly found the evildoer. This time, he was the one looking for death. Initially, when Lung Ruoshua returned, she did not tell the demon about what the master of the Hong family had told her. She was afraid that the demon would be so angry that he would want to exterminate the entire Hong family. She wanted to watch a good show, so she kept it a secret. Who knew that the master of the Hong family would court death and send himself to the muzzle of the gun? Sigh. Good luck. A demon's temper wasn't very good when dealing with irrelevant people. I seduced your 2 daughters? Are they worth seducing? The demon said with a face full of disdain, his eyes full of ridicule and contempt. You want to renege on your debt? I'm telling you, you can't just do whatever you want to my Hong family's daughter. You have to be responsible for them, or else I won't let you off. The head of the Hong family threatened. Really a joke? What responsibility do I have to take for them? They're not anyone to me. Are you delusional? If you're afraid that your daughters can't get married, then don't be too picky. Just find a beggar for them to marry off. The evildoer said viciously. In other words, he was saying that his daughter was only fit to marry a beggar. Then the demon asked with a curious smile, "What do you want to do to me?" Master Hong was so angry that he couldn't speak. On the other hand, Lung Ruoshua couldn't help but laugh in her heart. The mouth of the evildoer was really poisonous. In comparison, she was still considered gentle. At least, she didn't ask the head of the Hong family to marry his daughter to a beggar. However, beggars didn't seem to be common in the immortal realm. I'm afraid that these 2 daughters can't be married off. Chapter 1334. Being Framed. 5. Just as Lung Ruoxu's thoughts were running wild, Hong Xian suddenly ran over and shouted, "How can you do this to me? I'm already pregnant with your child." As soon as Hong Xin's words came out, the entire place fell silent. Everyone didn't even dare to breathe, and they all looked at Hong Xian in disbelief. When Lung Ruoxu heard Hong Xin's words, she felt as if she had been struck by lightning. Black lines appeared on her forehead, and she felt as if her strength was not in her heart. She could not help but sigh in her heart. It seemed that Hong Xian had gone crazy to be able to say such words. However, when she saw Hong Lian standing not far away with a smug expression, she understood. It looked like Hong Lian was planning to use Hong Xian as a weapon. First, she would force the evildoer to agree to be responsible for the daughter of the Hong family. The next step would probably be to think of a way to get rid of this eyesore of a younger sister. Poor Hong Xian. He was actually happy to be used by his sister. How lamentable. Miss Hong, are you sure the child in your stomach is mine? Or rather, it could be said that Miss Hong was sure that there was a child in her stomach. Don't accuse me. He'll be angry. The demon laughed nonchalantly. Although the evildoer was smiling, for some reason, in Hong Xin's eyes, his smile did not make her heart palpitate. She even felt a chill in her heart. She was about to retreat, but Hong Lian's voice rang in her heart again. Xian, do you want to waste all your efforts? This is the best opportunity. Hong Lian sensed Hong Xin's fear and quickly warned him. But he makes me so scared. Hong Xian said timidly, "Don't be afraid. Think about the feeling of being held in his arms. Isn't that what you want?" Hong Lian tempted. Yes. Hong Xian subconsciously nodded. Yes, she was really jealous of that woman who could be unscrupulous and be held in the arms of that godlike evil man. She also wanted to be like that. Therefore, after hearing Hong Lian's words, she made up her mind to persist until the end. Of course it's yours. Don't tell me you don't want to admit it. Hong Xian said angrily, her body trembling slightly. People who didn't know what was going on would think that she was angry, but in fact, she was afraid. Since it's mine, then you should give birth to it. The demon nodded. You're willing to acknowledge this child? Hong Xin's face was full of joy. She didn't expect things to be so easy. She had planned to die until the end. Who knew that the man she liked would actually ask her to give birth to this child? But then she realized a very serious problem, because she didn't have a child at all. So how could she get a child that was made up? Sob, what should I do? She was depressed. Of course, he'll acknowledge my child. The demon laughed evilly. There was one more sentence that he did not say out loud, and that was, if it's not my child, don't even think about framing me. Since you're willing to acknowledge her, then quickly marry my daughter. The master of the Hong family continued the conversation, somewhat impatiently. Master Hong, what's the hurry? We'll talk about this after the child is born. The demon laughed. What do you mean by this? Didn't you already acknowledge this child? The master of the Hong family didn't know what was going on. He thought that the matter had already been settled, but who knew that she would only be willing to marry after the child was born? How could Sheener have a child? Even if the other party believed him, he wouldn't. Master Hong, we're all men. You should know that you can't just randomly acknowledge a child. Otherwise, you'll be depressed to death if you raise someone else's child. The demon raised his eyebrows. Then what do you want? The head of the Hong family sighed helplessly. It seemed like this man wasn't as easy to fool as he thought. Miss Hong, didn't you say that you have a child? I want to see the child. It's that simple. The demon said matter-of-factly. After he finished speaking, he carried Lung Ruoxu and turned around to return to the tent. After entering the tent, Lung Ruoxu had a change of heart and brought the evildoer into the bracelet. Sitting on the stone chair in front of the purple bamboo house, the demon stared unblinkingly at Lung Ruoxu. After a long while, he said, Sure, shouldn't you tell me what the patriarch of the Hong family told you? That's what I'm talking about. I didn't dare to tell you because I was afraid you'd be angry. Lung Ruoxu said guiltily, You're afraid he'll be angry? Are you not angry? The demon could not help but ask, What's there to be angry about? Well, just treat it like we're watching a bunch of clowns. They've managed to entertain us anyway, haven't they? Lung Ruashua said disapprovingly. But I've been wronged. I've been wronged for having my child. The demon had an aggrieved look on his face, and there were tears in his eyes. It was obvious that he wanted Lung Ruashua to take responsibility for him. Didn't you also make them conjure up a child? I think they should be the ones worrying now. I'm sure they'll be racking their brains for this child. Lung Ruashua patted the evildoer's head like she was petting a puppy as she comforted him. Swear I'm not your baby, the demon said with some dissatisfaction. He pulled Schwer into his arms and started to eat. After a long time, the demon was satisfied, but he still remembered what had happened. He roared into the void, "Snow Shadow, get out here!" After waiting for a while, he did not see the big snow-white fox. "He'll count to 3. If you don't get the hell out, you'll have to bear the consequences." The demon threatened the void. Just as he was about to count, he saw a snow-white figure walk out from the dark unwillingly. Shui carefully and fearfully nudged his small steps until the demon's patience ran out and he roared again, "You're a fox, not a snail. If you continue to be so slow, it'll roast you. I'm coming." When Snow Shadow heard this, he hurriedly ran in front of the evildoer to please him, his face full of solicitousness. "What did you do last night? Is the child in Hong Zin's stomach yours?" The demon asked loudly with a cold face. When Lung Ruashua heard the demon's question, she had to suppress her laughter. This demon was really too evil. He clearly knew that it was a child that didn't exist, yet he still used it to ask Snow Shadow. He was clearly trying to scare it. However, she was also clear that Shuang must have done something last night. Otherwise, the Hong family members' expressions this morning would not be so strange. "No, absolutely not. I haven't even touched that woman's hand. How could she have a child?" When Snow Shadow heard the evildoer's words, he quickly shook his head and explained, "Woo, it's a fox that keeps its body as pure as jade. You can't wrong it like this. Then what did you do last night? Tell me the truth." The demon half squinted his eyes and ordered, "Yes, he'll explain. Actually, I really didn't do anything bad last night. I just asked Hua to transform into your appearance and went out alone. Then, that Hong Lian came to confess to me. After that, Hong Xian also came. They just happened to bump into each other and started fighting. I saw that my goal was achieved, so I ran away. That's all." Shuang said honestly, but he felt wronged in his heart. He really didn't expect things to turn out like this. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have looked for trouble. It was so regretful now that its intestines had turned green. Its only hope was that this petty man would not make things difficult for it. Because of this matter, at the thought of this, its pleading gaze drifted towards Lung Ruashua. Its eyes were red, as if it was saying, "Shue, I've done everything according to your instructions. You can't just leave me." When Lung Ruashua saw Snow Shadow's pleading expression, she could not help but laugh in her heart. Actually, the demon was just scaring it. Why would he really be angry over this matter? After all, in their eyes, the things that the Hong family had done were just a big joke. They didn't take it to heart at all. However, since the Hong family was trying to frame them, they naturally wouldn't be polite. They had to return the favor with a generous gift. It could be considered as returning the favor. Chapter 1335. Foxes Don't Eat Fish 1. At the thought of this, Lung Ruashua pretended to be unhappy and said, "Shuang, although this matter can't be completely blamed on you, this matter was still caused by you. So, you have to be responsible for the aftermath." How do I deal with the aftermath? Shuang was confused. "Think of it yourself," Lung Ruashua said irresponsibly. After she finished speaking, she pulled the demon back to the purple bamboo house, leaving the distressed Shui Ying alone in a daze. Shuang stood in place with a depressed look on his face. He thought for a long time, but could not come up with a good idea. Looking at Shui Ying's sighing appearance, Yu Qing and Xiang walked out from the dark while holding back their laughter. They pretended to be puzzled and asked, "Shui Ying, what's wrong with you? Do foxes have troubles too? Why can't a fox have troubles? Don't look down on the fox." Snow Shadow said unhappily. Right now, he was very annoyed. Ha ha. Who could he blame then? You are the one who started this. Yu Qing said without the slightest bit of sympathy. How can you blame me for this? If you want to blame someone, you can only blame that devilish man for being too charming. Wu. Shui Ying's face was filled with grievance. Although this matter was his doing, if it wasn't for that devilish man's great attraction, it wouldn't have gotten out of hand. In fact, if you want me to say, this matter has nothing to do with you at all. If you want to blame someone, you can only blame that pair of sisters for overthinking things and really thinking that they are hotcakes. Do men have to like them? Xiang'er said disdainfully. Although she was a beastie, she also hated women who thought they were all right. Xiang'er is right. You understand me. When Shui Ying heard Xiang'er's words, she was touched, and tears welled up in her eyes. All right, don't act. Miss isn't here. You should think about how to deal with this matter. Otherwise, if we let them continue like this, guild leader Yi will definitely fly into a rage. Yu Qing kindly reminded. I've been thinking about it for a long time, but I can't think of any good ideas. Why don't you help me think of one? Snow Shadow asked for help. Directly cut off the father and daughter trio, saving time and effort. What do you think? Yu Qing didn't even think and directly said, this won't do. If they suddenly die, the Hong family will definitely suspect the demonic man. At that time, he'll definitely be the one in trouble. I'm not doing it, Shui Ying said with a face full of fear, but in his heart, he was secretly sighing. This violent female beast, the Moon Eye, why do you only know how to kill people? We can't keep them around and cause trouble for Miss and Commander Yi. Yu Qing said with a frown. Aren't they going to the Yin residence to cause trouble? Just let the Yin clan take care of them. That way, we won't have anything to do with them. Even if the Hong clan wants revenge, they'll find the Yin clan, not us. Xiang'er thought for a moment and said, Xiang'er is still the smart one. Shui Ying heard Xiang'er's idea and said with a fawning expression, Smart? Isn't this what we've been planning all along? It's just that there's a bit of trouble now, so I have to change the plan a little. Their original plan was to watch the Yin clan and the Hong clan fight for the clam crane. However, since the Hong clan had come up with such a move, there was no need for the father and daughter trio to exist anymore. They would just let the Yin clan deal with them, so as to not dirty their hands. As for the Yin clan, after getting rid of the Hong family, they would also suffer a great loss. In addition, they would have to be on guard against the Hong family's revenge at all times. Therefore, this was much more satisfying than directly killing them. The effect would also be better. That's because you reminded us, Shui Ying said with a smile. All right, since you've said so, he'll take the credit. Xiang said helplessly. Yes. Snow Shadow nodded happily. In contrast to Shui Ying's gloominess, the people from the Hong family were completely in a state of madness. In the Hong family's tent, the head of the Hong family looked at his two daughters who were kneeling on the ground and felt a surge of anger in his heart. The other elders sitting there also had ugly expressions. Father, you have to help me. Hong Xian cried like a pear blossom with tears and said pitifully, What do you want me to make the decision for? Why didn't you think of asking me when you said those things? The head of the Hong family said angrily. Although he had supported his daughter at that time, there were no outsiders here now. Naturally, he would not help this daughter who failed in her task and was good at causing trouble like before. From the moment she asked him to give birth to the child, he knew very well that she did not believe his stupid daughter's words at all. AI, not to mention outsiders, even he, as the father, could not believe it. Exeter had only known them for a few days, and they had not even spoken to her alone. How could she suddenly have a child? This daughter was really not an ordinary kind of stupid. She wanted to rely on him, but she couldn't think of a better reason. She just had to come up with the worst one, causing their Hong family to lose face. The elders were all dissatisfied. This time, their Hong family's face could be considered to have been completely lost by this daughter. Father, it was my sister who told me to say that. Hong Xian told the truth. In fact, she was a little scared, so she gave up her sister to get her help. Xian, I know you hate me, but you can't wrong me like this. When did I ask you to say such things? After hearing Hong Zin's words, Hong Lian quickly retorted. Her beautiful face was still filled with disappointment towards her sister. Sister, you were the one who sent me a voice transmission to tell me that you had a child. How can you deny it? Hong Xian said somewhat angrily. Since young, she had always listened to her sister's words. This was because her sister had always thought for her and helped her come up with ideas. Hence, she had an unusual trust in her sister Hong Lian. Although they both liked the same man and had an unpleasant encounter last night, she still instinctively believed in Hong Lian's words. However, she did not expect that Hong Lian would not admit it. This made her somewhat at a loss. Father, you have to believe me. How could I let Xer say such brainless words? Hong Lian's face was full of grievance. His face was filled with a pitiful expression. Father, it was sister who told me to say it. You have to believe me. Hong Xian roared, not willing to show weakness. Chapter 1336. Foxes don't eat fish, too. All of you shut up. I don't care who came up with this idea, but I'll just ask you one thing. How do you plan to deal with this matter? The head of the Hong family said with a headache. In fact, he knew very well that Xer couldn't think of such an idea to frame her, but he also resented her for being brainless, so he deliberately didn't help her. Father, you have to make the decision for me. Now that things have come to this, you must force him to marry me. Hong Xian quickly requested as soon as he heard his father's words. How about you? Master Hong's gaze turned to Hong Lian. He felt a little more loathing towards this daughter, who even schemed against his own sister. However, he did not show it on his face. I will listen to you, father, Hong Lian said softly. Actually, she was a little timid. The master of the Hong family listened to his two daughters' answers and didn't say anything for a long time. However, his eyes kept sizing them up, making Hong Xian and Hong Lian feel very uneasy. One of you wants me to make the decision, and the other wants you to listen to me. Since that's the case, I'll tell you now that I can't do anything about this matter. Unless you can immediately conjure up that man's child. Otherwise, don't even think about him marrying you. After a long while, the head of the Hong family said coldly, Father, he doesn't even bother to look at me. How am I supposed to get his child? Hong Xian said with a bitter face, Don't you have your own ideas? Then I'll have to find a way myself. But there's one thing you have to remember. Our Hong family's face can't be lost anymore. The head of the Hong family reminded. Yes, father. Hong Xian heard her father's words and didn't dare to say anything. She knew that her father was angry. And you. Also, remember, the one you like is the fifth young master of the Yin family. Don't let others think that you're a promiscuous woman. The head of the Hong clan warned Hong Lian again. Right now, everyone in the outside world knew that the person Hong Lian liked was the fifth young master of the Yin clan, and their Hong and Yin clans had fallen out because of the unsuccessful marriage. Therefore, if the matter of Lian confessing to another man were to spread, wouldn't their enmity with the Yin clan become a joke? In this case, how could he go to the Yin family to seek justice? Yes, Hong Lian also replied softly. After that, the master of the Hong family sent the two daughters out. Then he talked nicely to the elders who were sitting there. Only then did the elders not pursue the matter. However, the elders of the Hong family had made a promise in advance and asked the master to guarantee that their two daughters would not cause any more scandals. After that, the group from the Hong family continued on their way. A day later, the group from the Hong clan had arrived outside Yin City. For the past day or so, the two sisters from the Hong clan had been extremely cautious and did not continue to pester the demon. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue was a little worried. This was too abnormal. At least, it did not match her understanding of the two sisters. Shue, what are you looking at? The demon looked at Shue, looking out through the curtains of the beast carriage, and couldn't help but ask curiously. At the same time, he was a little dissatisfied. Could it be that the scenery outside was better than his? Why didn't Shue take a good look at him? I'm looking at the Hong sisters. Lung Ruoxue spoke the truth. After yesterday's incident, their relationship with the Hong family had become a little awkward and delicate. So along the way, although they were in the middle of the Hong family's group, both sides had almost no communication. The Hong family's head also did not come over to curry favor. What's there to see about them? You better take a good look at me. The demon turned to Lung Ruoxue and complained. They haven't appeared in front of us for a day. Aren't you curious about what they're up to? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. I'm not curious, because it doesn't matter what they think. You'll protect me. The demon said coyly. Yes, it's good that you know. Lung Ruoxue touched the demon's head and praised him. Sure, I'm not Bao Bao and the others. Seeing that his head had been touched again, the demon was a little unhappy. Whoa, he was not a beastie. But sometimes, you're even better at acting coquettishly than them. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. However, she had no intention of taking her hand down. Miss, the Hong family is going to set up camp outside the city. Suddenly, Yu Qing's voice rang out. Ever since Commander Yi had taken over the beast carriage, she and Xiang could only follow behind the carriage on foot. Oh, Lung Ruoxue responded softly and pulled the demon down from the beast carriage. After she came down, she saw that the Hong family had already started setting up the tent. Furthermore, the fire had already been raised. It looked like they were preparing to cook. Lung Ruoxue raised her head and looked at the sky. It was afternoon now, and there was still some time before evening. It was already past lunchtime, so she really didn't know if what they were having was considered lunch or dinner. However, the members of the Hong family had been so agitated for the past 2 days that they were a little distracted. It seemed normal to have a meal at this time, so she tried to help them out in her heart. At this moment, the master of the Hong family finally walked over and pointed at a small mountain peak not far away. He smiled and said, Miss Lung, that's Yin City. Our common enemy, the Yin clan, is in that city. Oh, Lung Ruoxue replied softly and looked at the 2 words, Yin City on the mountainside. She couldn't help but think to herself, it's not like I can't read. This Master Hong is just trying to find a topic. Previously, she was still wondering when the Hong family would appear in front of her again. She didn't expect this Master Hong to be so insistent on it. Furthermore, he even classified the Yin family as their common enemy. When she heard such words, she had to hold back her laughter. In fact, in her eyes, the Yin family was not a real enemy at all. It was just that 2 blind people from the Yin family had annoyed her. Naturally, she would not let the entire Yin family die with her because of such a small matter. However, the premise was that it would depend on the Yin family's performance. How does Master Hong plan to deal with the Yin clan? Lung Ruoxue asked, pretending to be curious. Does Miss Lung have any good plans? Why don't you tell me? The head of the Hong family said expectantly, I'm a woman who has never seen the world. What kind of plan can I have? Besides, these fights and killing are all men's affairs. I won't get involved. Lung Ruoxue chuckled, obviously waiting for a good show. Chapter 1337. Foxes Don't Eat Fish 3. However, when he heard Lung Ruoxue's words, not only did Master Hong not feel any dissatisfaction, but he was even pleased with himself. A woman was a woman after all. Other than hiding behind a man, there was nothing else she could do. He would let the woman in front of him know that he was a very powerful man and not an embroidered pillow with only an appearance. Because in his heart, evildoers were classified as embroidered pillows by him. He would soon prove that he was definitely more than 100 times stronger than that man. The master of the Hong family was full of confidence and secretly pleased with himself. Even his eyes were filled with contempt as he looked at the evildoer. However, his smug and disdainful gaze was ignored by Lung Ruoxue and the demon. In their eyes, the master of the Hong family was just like a clown. After the head of the Hong family left, Yu Qing looked at his back angrily. She couldn't help but curse in a low voice. Look at how smug he is. I really hate him. I really want to cut him into 8 pieces and throw him into the sea to feed the fish. Don't you want to eat him? Shuang stretched out his big furry head and winked as he said, Why should I eat him? Yu Jing's face was filled with question marks. You're a soul-gnawing beast. Shuang reminded him, as if it was a matter of course. Although I'm a soul-gnawing beast, soul-gnawing beasts are also picky eaters. They want to eat anything unclean. Of course, souls are an exception. Yu Qing said very cautiously. Then you can eat his soul and make him disappear from this world. This is a matter of boundless merit. Shuang said with a smile. Let me consider it. Yu Qing said somewhat unwillingly. After following the young miss for a few years, she had become used to eating vegetarian food and was even more picky than before. If it was in the past, she might have agreed without hesitation, but now she didn't want to eat that much. Moreover, if she ate an unclean soul, she didn't know if it would cause her to have diarrhea. Is there a need to consider this? You're a soul-gnawing beast. After hearing Yu Qing's words, Shuang said in an extremely speechless manner, which soul-gnawing beast would not like to eat souls? Now that it was delivered to her mouth, she was actually still complaining about this and that. She was really too much. So what if it's a soul-gnawing beast? As a soul-gnawing beast, can't I have my own preferences? I'm telling you very seriously right now. I don't like to eat souls anymore. Yu Qing said disapprovingly. She had originally wanted to consider it, but after hearing what Shuang said, she didn't want to eat it anymore. Yeah, it's going to rain, mother is going to get married, and the soul-gnawing beast is no longer eating souls. Is the world changing? Endless snow, Shadow lamented. Its antics had made Lung Ruoxue and the others laugh. You're getting more and more mischievous. Hurry up and start a fire to cook. We'll eat too. Lung Ruoxue tugged at Shui Ying's long hair and ordered helplessly. Shuer, image, my image. I'm a noble fox. Can you not grab me like you're grabbing a puppy? This will damage my tall image. Shuang growled in a low voice with a bitter expression. Hurry up and go. When Lung Ruoxue heard Shui Ying's words, she didn't know whether to laugh or cry as she patted Shui Ying's butt and urged him. Arg, Shuer, you, how can you touch my butt? Woo, my pure body. I've been tainted by you, just like that. Shui Ying's eyes were filled with tears as she complained tearfully, looking like a little wife who had been bullied. Shui Ying's words caused Lung Ruoxue and the rest to be filled with black lines. The evildoer was so angry that he wanted to beat Shuang up. Shuang quickly hid behind Lung Ruoxue when he saw this and even chided her with an aggrieved expression. Your woman touched my butt and you want to kill me. Woo, why's my life so bitter? I met you two bad guys with ulterior motives. You're all bullying me. After Snow Shadow finished speaking, he ran away with tears in his eyes without looking back. Miss, should we go and find it? It would be terrible if it was caught by someone else. Xiang said with a worried look. And Yu Qing should go and find it. Lung Ruoxue's face was solemn, and she would look in the direction that Shui Ying had left from time to time. Then we'll go. After Yu Qing and Xiang finished speaking, they also chased in the direction that Shui Ying had left. Miss Lung, what happened? At this moment, the head of the Hong family walked over and asked with concern. My beast pet threw a tantrum with me and ran away from home. AI. Lung Ruoxue sighed as she spoke, her beautiful face filled with helplessness. However, she couldn't help but think, didn't you all see it? Still asking. Miss Lung, this is not a joke. They'll send someone to help you find it. Otherwise, it would be terrible if it was caught and used to threaten you. The head of the Hong family reminded. Then I'll have to trouble you, Master Hong. Lung Ruoxue said gratefully. It's no trouble at all. You came with me. Now that something has happened, I should help. The head of the Hong family said matter-of-factly. After that, he ordered the Hong family to split up and search for the big snow-white fox. However, they did not find Shui Ying's whereabouts even after searching several times in the vicinity by the time it was dark. Looking at the anxious Lung Ruoxue, a Master Hong could not help but comfort her. Miss Lung, don't be too anxious. We'll find it. Master Hong, you're more familiar with this place, so where do you think they'll go? Could he have run into Yin City? Lung Ruoxue asked in a daze. I don't think so. That fox is heading in the direction of Yin City. If I'm not wrong, it should be hiding in the forest near Yin City. The head of the Hong family analyzed. although that forest is not big, but to find a beastie, it is not a matter of a short time. So, Miss Lung must not be anxious. Tomorrow at dawn, I will send people to look for it. The head of the Hong family said again, secretly pleased with himself. Hee. At this point, Lung Ruoxue should know the benefits of having more subordinates. Even though the man beside her was quite good-looking, it was a pity that he had no one to rely on when faced with such a situation. He could only watch helplessly. Hence, he believed that after this incident, Lung Ruoxue would definitely be able to compare who was better between him and that man and make the best choice. Then I'll have to trouble you, Master Hong. Lung Ruoxue said softly. After she finished speaking, she pulled the evildoer to sit at the side. Her face still looked troubled. Chapter 1338. Foxes don't eat fish. 4. As for Shuang, who had been turned upside down by the Hong family but could not be found, she was currently sitting in the Yin family's main residence in Yin City, drinking tea and eating snacks. In the guest courtyard of the Yin clan, 4 outstanding men and women, as well as a huge fox, were sitting in the room and chatting. Miss, do you have any instructions? Ziyu said helplessly as she looked at Shuang, who was only focused on eating. In her heart, she was secretly sighing. How long had it been since this fox had eaten? Why did it look like it was starving to death? No, I didn't eat. Shuang mumbled, his claws still holding on to the snacks as he kept putting them into his mouth. Can't you eat later? If you don't know, you'll think that Miss mistreated you and didn't give you anything to eat. Bai Xian said helplessly, beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. Shuang, don't embarrass the young lady anymore, all right? We didn't let you starve. Yu Qing said somewhat angrily. But I'm hungry. The Yin family's food is quite delicious. Snow Shadow praised as he ate. They don't even care how delicious the food is now. These few days, the Yin clan had been making preparations for the Hong clan's upcoming arrival. Everyone was overwrought with work, and even they had been given the cold shoulder. In the past, the second master of the Yin clan would frequently come to accompany them, but now, he had not appeared for several days. However, Lung Ruoxue's presence outside the city was good news to them. After hearing this news, he couldn't wait to grow wings and fly over to see the young miss. However, he was stopped by Shuang. When will we be able to see the young lady? Ziyu couldn't help but ask. You should be able to see it when the Hong clan attacks the Yin clan. Shuang said. Then when does the Hong clan plan to make their move? Ziyu could not help but ask. I don't know. That Master Hong is more concerned about Shui, and his 2 daughters are more concerned about that demonic man. So I'm guessing that they most likely don't have the mood to deal with the Yin family now. Shuang laughed evilly. Since that's the case, it'll go out of the city to see Miss first. I haven't seen her in a long time. Ziyu said. Dante, you can't go see her now. Shuang hurriedly said. Why can't I? Give me a reason. Otherwise, he'll leave the Yin residence right now to see the young lady. Ziyu threatened. This damned fox only said that he couldn't see the young miss now, but didn't tell him the reason. He was really worried to death. I guess she's receiving some kind of punishment now. Shuang laughed in a very wretched manner. Why? Who would dare to punish Miss? Don't you want to live? Ziyu heard Shui Ying's words and shouted angrily. Other than that demonic man, who else would dare to punish Shui? Snow Shadow said matter-of-factly. Why did Commander Yi punish the young miss? Ziyu said, a little puzzled. However, he was about to go crazy from how Shuang kept him in suspense. Because it touched my butt. Shuang laughed smugly. How is this possible? Ziyu's face was filled with disbelief. Of course not. Miss, that's hitting, not touching, okay? Yu Qing said speechlessly. Miss clearly hit its butt, but why did it become touching in this fox's mouth? Or was this fox naturally lacking in love and was looking to be touched? That was a light touch. It was obviously a touch. Besides, you all know that it was just an act. So how could Shui really hit me? Since he didn't beat me up, he definitely touched me. Shui said proudly. You're beautiful. If you continue to say that the young miss touched your butt, guild leader Yi will not let you off. Yu Qing said with a smirk. You're obviously touching me, but you won't let me say anything. Shuang pouted in dissatisfaction. If you're not afraid of death, then just say it. We won't stop you. Ziyu also said with a smile. Now that they knew the reason, it was really not good for them to go and see the young miss. Otherwise, if they were treated as cannon fodder by the leader Yi, just thinking about it was terrifying. All right, I won't say it. By the way, can you help me find a beggar or someone who's in a bad state in Yin City? Shuang was no longer joking, and he said seriously, why do you want a beggar? It's not easy to find a beggar in the immortal realm. However, it shouldn't be a problem to find a beggar who's in a bad state. They'll go look for Second Master Yin later and ask for his help to look for her. Ziyu said after thinking for a while. You could go to him now. I need it urgently. Shuang urged impatiently. What do you want? Ziyu's face was filled with curiosity. You'll know when the time comes. Snow Shadow kept him in suspense again. If you don't tell me, I won't care about this anymore. Ziyu said with a smile. Woo-woo, you're threatening me too. You're all bad guys. All right, we'll just tell you. Shuang had no choice but to admit defeat. Sigh. Although it was a fox, in terms of slyness, these guys were the real foxes. It admitted defeat. Shuang unwillingly pulled Ziyu's head over and whispered a few words into his ear. Then, Ziyu revealed an evil smile and looked at Shuang with a very strange expression. Now you know. Hurry up and help me find her. After the whisper, Shuang urged again. Yes. Ziyu nodded, stood up from her seat, and walked towards the door. Not long after, Ziyu returned, followed by a man who was covered in dirt and mud. The man's face was full of beard, and it was impossible to tell his age. His eyes were chaotic, and his mind seemed to be a little unclear. Saliva was dripping from the corner of his mouth, and he was giggling. When Shuang saw the man that Ziyu had brought back, she was so shocked that she immediately stood up from her chair and walked around the man a few times. She even exclaimed in surprise, Where did you find this man? It's really of the highest quality. The Yin family's prison. I thought that this man was silly and should be easier to manipulate. That's why I especially chose him. Ziyu said with a slight smugness. Many of the prisoners locked up in the Yin clan's prison were extremely vicious and evil. However, he didn't pick any of them, and only chose one who was not in his right mind. This was because his excuse to the Yin clan's second master was that he wanted to find someone to test the medicine. The Yin clan's second master thought that there was an alchemist among them, so he naturally cooperated with all his might. Those who could be locked up in a cell would definitely not be able to leave, so it was most suitable to use them as test subjects. After all, test subjects might be more painful than death. Chapter 1339. Foxes Don't Eat Fish 5. Yes, it's good to be silly. Snow Shadow kept nodding its head. If it wasn't stupid, it would have to think of a way to make it stupid. However, it hoped that this man was not pretending to be stupid. Sigh. Forget it. For safety's sake, I'd better give him some medicine. After Shuang made up his mind, he threw an elixir into the man's open mouth. The man thought it was food and instinctively swallowed the elixir. Seeing that the man was so cooperative, Shuang was very satisfied. After bidding Ziyu and Bai Xian farewell, they took the silly man and left the Yin family's main residence. When Shuang and his beast returned to the Hong family's estate, the head of the Hong family was excitedly instructing his subordinates on what to do the next day, which was to go out and find the fox that had left home early in the morning. Therefore, when he saw Shuang return, he pointed at Shuang as if he had seen a ghost and said, Why are you back? Master Hong, do you really hope that I won't come back? Shuang's face was filled with hidden bitterness as he spoke. The tears in his eyes seemed as if they would fall at any moment. No, I didn't mean it that way. What I meant was, how could you run away from home just because you quarreled with Master? What if they were caught by the bad guys? Your master is very worried about you. The master of the Hong family quickly pulled back his words, and the cold sweat on his forehead dripped down silently. In fact, he was quite depressed because he had already made preparations to find this fox, and had even made arrangements. However, this damn fox suddenly returned by itself. In this way, didn't everything he had done go to waste? It was his chance to show off. Just like that, it was destroyed by this damn fox. When the head of the Hong family thought of this, his heart was filled with hatred. Looking at the head of the Hong family, gritting his teeth, Shuang was extremely happy. He couldn't help but mutter to himself, hee. This was only the beginning. What would make him vomit blood was yet to come. However, he did not know if a certain someone would cooperate. He was looking forward to it. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue and the demon who had heard Shui Ying's voice walked out of the tent. Snow Shadow. Lung Ruoxue called out softly. Master! Shui Ying's eyes were filled with tears as he looked at Lung Ruoxue with fear, but he did not dare to walk over. Seeing this, the master of the Hong family considerately advised, quickly go and beg for your master's forgiveness. She's been worried about you the whole night. Yes. Shuang nodded obediently. Then, with small steps, he inched closer to Lung Ruoxue's side. He even stretched out his big furry head and leaned on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, acting coquettishly, fully expressing the dependence of a beast pet on its master. Master, I miss you so much, Shui Ying said gently. However, its coquettish and intimate actions made the evildoer extremely dissatisfied and secretly hated it. That damn fox, it was just an act, and he actually dared to take advantage of Shuang. Let's wait and see. The demon thought to himself and thought of thousands of ways to torture this fox to vent the hatred in his heart. Shuang, who was resting its head on Lung Ruoxue's shoulder, felt a cold gaze on its back. Its heart trembled, and it was so frightened that it quickly lifted its head from Lung Ruoxue's warm shoulder. Woo! It was so engrossed in its acting that it had forgotten that there was a big vinegar jar beside Shui. What should he do? Just as Snow Shadow was secretly on edge, Master Hong's timely voice helped him resolve some of the awkwardness. Miss Lung, your beast pet has returned safely. You can rest assured now. The head of the Hong family forced a smile. Yes, thank you for your concern, Master Hong. Lung Ruoxue said gratefully. She even touched Shui Ying's soft, long fur, causing Shui Ying's heart to tremble in fear. Woo! Don't touch me. Someone will be jealous. Lung Ruoxue looked at Shui Ying's timid little appearance and felt playful. She began to move her hands up and down Shuang. It felt really good. The evildoer beside him saw this and hated him in his heart. However, in front of outsiders, he could only endure it. He'll deal with that fox later. Lung Ruoxue could feel the cold air around her getting heavier and heavier. She didn't dare to go too far and stopped when she was ahead. Shuang, who had been on tenterhooks, also slowly put down his little heart and looked at her with a face full of hidden bitterness, as if to say, "Didn't you just touch my butt? You don't have to do this to me." At this moment, Shuang wanted to cry, but had no tears. He could only swallow the blood from his teeth. However, it kept praying in its heart. Just ignore it. Woo. Just pretend it doesn't exist. Shuang, you're back so late, you must be hungry. Let's go. They'll go roast some meat for you. At this time, the evildoer said with a smile, Roast meat? No, I'm not hungry, and I don't want to eat barbecued meat. When Shuang heard the word roasted meat, he was a little afraid. Woo. He said roasted meat, but could it be his own meat? It did not forget that this evil man had said more than once that he would roast it. Therefore, it would never dare to eat the meat that this man had roasted. It should be known that a jealous man was not only unreasonable, but he might even try to get rid of his love rival. Although it was not considered a love rival, in the eyes of this evil man, it was probably an enemy that could not be let go. Shuang, you've really hurt me. Why are you touching me for no reason? Snow Shadow wailed in his heart. However, the demon did not allow him to refuse. He directly grabbed the thick fur behind his neck and dragged him away. He even specially brought him to the fire. Sit down. Let's roast some meat. The demon said fiercely. After he finished speaking, he forcefully pulled Shui Ying to sit on the ground with him. I'm not hungry, and I don't want to eat barbecued meat. Shuang lowered his head and said in a low voice, "No, if you're hungry, Shui will be heartbroken." The demon patted Snow Shadow's head and said worriedly, "Yup, you have to eat something. You've been out for an entire afternoon, and you probably haven't caught any prey. AI, how pitiful. You've actually slimmed down." The head of the Hong family, who thought that he was very familiar with the situation around him, interjected with a concerned expression. Rolling his eyes at the head of the Hong family, Shui Ying's eyes were still looking at the evildoer with great vigilance. However, he was cursing in his heart. Which part of it had lost weight? It had only been an afternoon. Even if it had lost weight, it was impossible to tell so quickly. Look at how much Master Hong cares about you. We all know that you've lost weight. You have to eat more and get chubby. The demon laughed. What's the point of raising her white and fat? Do I fatten it up so that you can roast it and eat it? Ooh, it didn't want to. It would rather be hungry than be fattened up to be slaughtered. Shuang howled in his heart. Seeing that Snow Shadow didn't say anything, the evildoer had no choice but to say to the Hong family head apologetically, "Master Hong, I'm sorry. This little fox has been spoiled by Shui and doesn't know her manners. I hope you don't mind. I want tea. I want tea." The head of the Hong family hurriedly waved his hand and couldn't help but sigh. That fox wasn't the only one who didn't know etiquette. You should be the ones who don't understand. Hee hee. Master Hong, let's sit together. The demon warmly invited. Seeing the abnormal enthusiasm of the evildoer, Shui Ying became more and more vigilant. What was this evildoer up to? This was too abnormal. All right, then I want stand on ceremony. After the master of the Hong family finished speaking, he sat down next to Shui Ying. At this moment, the evildoer took out a few more fish from his storage ring and roasted them over the fire. The master of the Hong family even diligently helped to flip them over. The two of them cooperated tacitly, and after a while, a fish was roasted first. Eat. The demon handed the fish to Snow Shadow. I don't like to eat fish. Shui Ying looked at the fish, but he didn't dare to reach out his claws to take it. Woo! What if that demon wanted to mess with him and drug the fish? It was afraid. A picky eater is not a good child. The demon coaxed. Foxes don't eat fish. Snow Shadow reminded. Who said that? Our fox can eat anything, be good. Hurry up and eat. Don't be picky. The demon deliberately said with a straight face. Suddenly, the fish that Master Hong was roasting in his hands started to spark. Chapter 1340. Shameless 1. The spark was so small that no one noticed it at all. However, the spark happened to float onto Shui Ying's body. In an instant, the small spark suddenly grew bigger and ignited in an instant. It flew rapidly on Shui Ying's body like a prairie fire. In the blink of an eye, most of the fur on Shui Ying's body was burned off. Arg! My fur! Shui Ying screamed and instinctively pounced on the master of the Hong family, who was closest to it. The master of the Hong family was caught off guard, and the two of them rolled on the ground. The flames on Shui Ying's body also set Master Hong's clothes on fire. When everyone saw this, they were dumbfounded for a moment. However, they quickly reacted and ran forward to help put out the flames on the two of them. Hearing Shui Ying's voice, Lung Ruoxue, who had already returned to her tent, ran out in a hurry. When she saw that Shui Ying's originally snow-white fur was now charred black, her heart ached. Woo! What beautiful and nice fur. But now, what a pity. When Lung Ruoxue saw Shui Ying sitting on the ground in a daze, she quickly walked over to it and asked with concern, Snow Shadow, are you all right? Are you hurt? Shui Ying didn't respond, but sank into his own thoughts. Shui Ying, say something. When Lung Ruoxue saw Shui Ying's state, she could not help but feel anxious. This big fox wouldn't take it too hard just because its fur was burnt, right? She couldn't help but let her thoughts run wild. Swear, don't worry. It's just a little bit of fur. I'll be fine. At this moment, the evildoer came forward and comforted the anxious Shui. How did this happen? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. Wasn't he supposed to be eating barbecued meat? Why did it become a roasted fox? Master Hong didn't do it on purpose. The sparks from the fish he grilled splashed on Shui Ying, so it caused a fire. Fortunately, it was put out in time, so they didn't suffer any serious injuries. The demon explained. Oh, Lung Ruoxue nodded, then looked at Master Hong, who was surrounded by the members of the Hong family. She walked over to him to express her concern. However, Master Hong had also suffered quite a shock, and he was in a daze. Woo! My fur! My beautiful fur! Suddenly, everyone heard Shui Ying's sorrowful and agonized cries. Lung Ruoxue quickly returned to Shui Ying's side. Snow Shadow, you must calm down. The hair will grow back. Lung Ruoxue didn't know how to comfort Shui Ying anymore. Usually, this fox only knew how to sleep and eat. It didn't seem to care much about its beauty. Why did he care so much about his fur being burnt? My fur! Shui Ying's eyes were filled with tears as he kept repeating this sentence. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue could only order Yuqing and Xiang to help bring it into the tent. Then, she moved them into the bracelet. After entering the bangle, Lung Ruoxue fed Shui Ying a pill. In an instant, all the burnt fur on Shui Ying's body fell off and regrown. The new fur was thicker and thicker than before. It was also whiter and more beautiful. However, Snow Shadow was still thinking about the fur that had abandoned it. Shui Ying, the fur on your body has regrown, and you're even more beautiful now. Don't be sad anymore. Lung Ruoxue reminded. That body of fur has accompanied me for over 100 years. I have very deep feelings for it. Now, it has left me just like that, sob, Shui Ying said with a sad expression. Why are you crying? Don't you shed your fur? That body of fur will abandon you sooner or later, but it's just ahead of schedule now, so there's nothing to be sad about. Besides, haven't your fur already grown out? Don't act pitiful, Yuqing said unhappily. As a beastie, she really couldn't understand why Shui Ying would hurt his heart for a little bit of burnt fur. In fact, they would naturally grow a new body of fur after a period of time, and every time they shed fur, their defensive ability would also increase. Therefore, shedding fur was a good thing for them. It's different this time. You're mentally prepared for a normal shedding, but not this time. Shui Ying quibbled, his heart still silently mourning for the fur that had passed away. You can just treat it as shedding your fur in advance. The moon, I said disapprovingly. This was not a big deal at all. Yup, Shui Ying, aren't you fine now? Compared to you, the head of the Hong family seems to be in an even worse state. He didn't have thick fur to cover his body, so he was burnt. Xiang laughed. He only had himself to blame for that. Shui Ying said hatefully. If it wasn't for him creating the sparks, how could the fur on his body have been burnt? Although it had some suspicions that the evil man had done something, there was no evidence. Therefore, it could only put all the blame on the master of the Hong family. That's right, he asked for it. He's the one who harmed you, so we can't let him off. Xiang agreed. I won't let him go, Shui Ying said through gritted teeth. Snow Shadow, now that you're fine, you should rest early. Lung Ruoxue sighed softly and said to Shui Ying. After he finished speaking, he left Shui Ying's residence with Yuqing and Xiang. Back at the purple bamboo house, the demon was sitting on a chair, waiting for Lung Ruoxue. Swearer, is that fox all right? The demon said. Well, why don't you go and comfort it? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. After such a thing had happened, why didn't the demon show himself? It was really too strange. It doesn't want to see me now. The demon laughed evilly. Lung Ruoxue didn't know what to say anymore. Could it be that this whole thing was planned by that demon? If that was the case, then wasn't it all because of her? She touched Shui Ying's fur, so the evildoer thought of a way to burn Shui Ying's fur. However, the evildoer would not do such a stupid thing, because even if Shui Ying's fur was burned, it would immediately grow back after eating a pill. Wasn't that unnecessary? This matter has nothing to do with me. Although I've also thought of burning its fur, the demon explained indifferently. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.